I think it's a great honour to win a Biggie, but I think if you aim to be rewarded in your life, you'll get nowhere. I think that the biggest reward is the work itself and what you get out of it, and the connections you make with other people. Ladies, gentlemen, and variations thereupon, it's the biggest night in showbiz. This historic event will go down in infamy. This is Modern Escapism. Esteemed judges and naysayers, my name is Oodles, and I'll be the... I'm drunk already, hang on. Start again. Rosy cheeks.
No, it's going to stay in that.
Oh yeah, it's staying in.
Esteemed judges and naysayers, my name is Oodles, and I'll be the host for this evening's proceedings. And tonight, I will be joined by a man that has a head like a golden globe. It's Gadget.
Oi.
I thought that was me as well.
Some say the champagne at the BAFTAs after party is the only thing that could quench his insatiable bloodlust. It's Stig.
You like me. You really like me.
And finally, the man with the Midas touch, the president of the BIGGIES 2021 Awards and the Forbes magazine 40 over 40 Man of the Year Awards winner. It's Biggie.
It's me! It is me! It's me!
How are we doing this fine awards evening, gentlemen?
I was doing fine, so you compared me to a fucking Golden Globe.
Just your head.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
I can see you're all in your best. Who are you wearing tonight, Biggie?
Oh, fuck you know. I've come as John Candy.
Excellent. And who are you wearing tonight, Stig?
Me, I'm wearing this excellent apparel by Nike.
Excellent.
With lovely Northallerton Rugby Club Twickenham 2015.
Fantastic. And Gadget, who are you wearing this evening?
T-shirt and pants.
Same.
Excellent.
So, without further ado, before the main event, let's head down into our red carpet of what we've been up to this week, and we will start with you, Gadget. What have you been up to, pal?
So I've got a couple of things I want to talk about. First of all is Pip and I watched Louis Theroux's newest documentary, Shooting Joe Exotic.
Oh.
Which was, obviously, the entire world at the beginning of lockdown last year watched Tiger King.
Yeah.
And enjoyed the rapturous insanity that was that programme. And obviously it was brought up early on in that series. I think it was in that series, or maybe Twitter reminded everybody of it, but Louis Theroux had done a documentary where he met Joe Exotic in 2011.
Yes.
And it was in the wake of Tiger King, Louis Theroux going back and kind of re-interviewing a lot of people, going to see the effect that the documentary had, but also correcting a few wrongs in it as well, because one of the big things that came out of it was the narrative throughout Tiger King of Carol Baskin and what happened to her first husband,
yes.
Don. And there was a lot made within the storyline that, a lot of people thought she might have killed her husband. And that's actually kind of disproved a lot in this Louis Theroux one, because he actually sits and talks to Carol and her current husband Howard about it.
Yeah.
And you get a bit more understanding of the fact that Don suffered from bipolar disorder and was a very erratic person and stuff like that. So there was a lot of Louis Theroux kind of highlighting a lot of journalistic malpractice from the creators of Tiger King. But also then just talking to Joe Exotic's lawyers and talking around the subject, and also then revealing that almost everyone who was involved in Tiger King has an exclusivity contract with Netflix. So he couldn't go and speak to Joe Exotic. He couldn't go and speak to the people around it. It's a really fascinating watch. And you also see some stuff from behind the scenes of the original documentary that Louis Theroux made, which actually cast Joe Exotic in a very bad light, because the documentary kind of showed him as an almost sympathetic character despite him being a horrible twat. It's worth a watch. It's on iPlayer. It's very interesting, especially if you kind of, like the rest of the world, got swept up in Tiger King. It reframes a lot of stuff, and it makes you actually think, how honest was the original documentary? So, yeah, well worth a watch. But the main thing I want to talk about is, this last week, me and Stig finished Dead Space 3.
You did.
That is a very stupid game.
Some say 3 is the magic number.
That needs to go on the box.
No. Yeah, that'll be great for a fucking re-release of it.
Should we do the DLC now? Yeah.
No, we shall not do the DLC.
Yeah.
So, I love Dead Space 1 and 2, and I've said when we were doing the streams, I said it many times before. I had played Dead Space 3, but it was many moons ago, and I don't remember a great deal of it.
Yeah, same.
At this point, I'm questioning whether or not I ever actually finished it, because when we got to the ending, it was just the most monumentally stupid ending and so unsatisfying.
The bad guy was shit. The last boss, so bad.
The general run of the Dead Space games is you play Isaac Clarke. There is this supernatural creation called the Marker, which has a really horrible, nasty habit of turning corpses into bloodthirsty monsters. And it becomes like an infection that Isaac ends up having to stop in every game. In the third game, you go to a planet called Tau Volantis, which is this kind of frozen ice world, which is then revealed as that is where the markers come from and where the necromorph infection comes from.
Of course, that's where you'd go as well.
Naturally speaking, it's a sensible place for anybody to go.
Yeah.
For a game called Dead Space, you spend very little time in space.
Yeah.
In fact, almost no time in space.
About half an hour, maybe.
But the best part about it is this. So this was the game that effectively sealed the fate of Visceral Studios, who made the game, because EA murdered them after a few years after this one.
Firing squad.
Agree.
Yeah, Firing Squad just took them out there, kneel on the ground, shoot straight through the skull.
At which point, but they were all going, "But this is your fault, EA."
You told us to do this.
Yeah.
The last statement may not be fact.
It's concrete fact. It's what EA does. But yeah. In Dead Space 3, you spend very little time in space. You spend most of the time on Tau Volantis. Because EA'd the fuck out of it, there is microtransactions. So for now, in this game, you have basically one kind of ammo that works with all weapons, because the run of the game is you have to build weapons out of parts that you find. Or microtransactions if you want to buy the parts for the weapons.
Yeah, see, I have no problem with building the weapons and unlocking stuff as you go along. But when it was stuff like, I click on it and it's just like, you don't have this part, but you can buy it if you want. I'm like, what? No.
It did that early Ubisoft thing where it's like, time saving, $2.99.
Well, bear in mind that this game is 8 years old and the microtransactions are still in there and they're still fucking broken.
Yeah.
Like, every upgrade requires tungsten, which is the hardest material to come by.
Somewhere deep in the bowels of EA servers are still getting a little bit of money from these microtransactions.
No, probably a tiny amount.
The stupid thing is this game is like 8 to 10 hours long, so it doesn't even
John,
warrant...
we've got one. We've got a tungsten deposit. We've done it.
Yeah.
It doesn't even warrant like buying the parts to unlock this. Like, it's not like a 40 to 50 hour epic.
No, exactly.
Neither of us put any money into the game, and we finished it reasonably comfortably.
We bought the game.
Technically, you're encouraging EA.
Yeah. I didn't buy it from Steam. We'll say that much.
Yeah, good.
I did buy it, but it was like secondhand keys.
It doesn't matter.
The funniest part of it is because we were playing a co-op game, and the co-op is so badly integrated into it because it was such an afterthought. So I was playing as Isaac. Stig was playing as
John Everyman.
Basically,
It might as well be.
Space Marine archetype number 44, the troubled soldier.
Yes.
You know,
It's called John, isn't he?
Captain Red
John
Shirt.
Carver. John Carver is his name. Which is
called
obviously
John. Default.
It's one letter removed from John Carter of Mars. So it tried to hype it up as this thing where like each player would have individual experiences.
Yeah.
That happened precisely twice in the game.
Oh, God.
There was one moment where in a cutscene of things falling down, Stig saw something different than I saw, and then we had a side quest, and the side quest was fucking terrible. It's in the last stream. If you go back and watch the last VOD, it basically, we had to follow Carver's ghosts through this facility. It was like about 12 rooms, I think, in total. And each time we would get to one of these kind of hub rooms where Carver would freeze. So Stig would go into this kind of mini game of horror. And I had to stand there and shoot off waves of necromorphs to make sure they didn't kill Stig in the real world. The real world, in quotes.
I mean, in the real world, you'd have left him to his fate.
Yeah, and it was just so dumb, and there was so much backtracking and so much shit dialogue. We had like a really emotional moment, emotional in quotes again, where Isaac's love interest sacrificed herself because she couldn't be asked to jump out the way of some poison gas, and then she turns up later with a fucking Elton John looking baddie holding on to her. Oh God, it was dreadful.
I remember reading a review when it came out, and they were saying, "Oh, there's 3 hours worth of a good game in this 10-hour package."
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, like I think I counted 3 jump scares that actually made me jump throughout the whole game.
Yeah, that bit where she was just like, "I can't get through. You go on." I'm just like, "You are standing on a elevated platform here. Run and jump, and you will jump over the gas. It's not even got to your level yet." You have about 2 meters to jump.
As long as you don't breathe it in, you're fine.
Yeah, she has about 2 meters to jump. She's got a really good, like, what she stood on. She could run across it and jump. She would make it. No,
silly.
No, and I say in the stream, I went, "I bet she turns up."
Yeah, literally. As the door closed after the cutscene, says she's turning up.
She's not dead.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, she does. And both of us, when she turned up, both of us just groaned. It was just this.
So to wrap it up a little bit quicker than we should, collectively, what would you score this out of 10?
A bad game out of 10.
I think I give it maybe a 6, but I don't know, maybe a 5.
Wow,
it's 6.
You enjoyed it co-op, right? So I guess there's the fun that you had.
Yeah, the fun with the co-op, but
it's. I guess it's the EA equivalent of Resident Evil 5. It's a dreadful game by yourself, but with co-op, it's just stupid.
Yeah, I've only played Dead Space 3 alone, and alone it's a 4 out of 10, without a doubt.
It's not a good game.
Also, can we just say a big fuck you to Nimrod Hicks?
Oh yeah, fuck Nimrod.
What did he do?
He sat on our stream and he said, "Oh, there's something at the end of the credits." And this game, by the way, doesn't allow you to skip anything. So if you die and you get checkpointed before a cutscene, you have to watch the whole cutscene again. So we couldn't skip.
Some of them are long as well.
Yeah, so we couldn't skip the credits. So we sat there for like 5-10 minutes, just chatting away, chatting to the Twitch chat and everything.
Yeah.
Sat there waiting for this, and I was like, I bet this is just like, "Oh, he's not dead" kind of thing. And it comes by the end, and it's literally 2 words actually, a black screen with 2 words, and then it went back to the main menu. It's like. And the worst thing is, he told us afterwards. He goes, "I've never played this game. I just took a gamble."
Gotcha.
Fucking Punk was over the moon. It was like his Christmas has come.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you seem to have enjoyed yourself, and you've got an anecdote from it now, and a warning to everyone else: don't play it.
Yeah. No, don't play it. Don't play it.
We're doing things so you don't have to.
Oh, and the last thing we'll leave it off on, the online service, EA's online service, is dreadful.
It's never been good.
What every stream, either we had connection issues, either me dropping off or Stig dropping off. Sometimes we didn't even actually get connected to get a match for like 10 minutes. There's 2 of the streams that I actually had to cut off the beginning of the VODs, where it's just the 2 of us constantly sending player invites to each other, trying to get into the fucking game.
You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. God bless EA.
But yeah, that's what I've been up to this
So,
week.
Stig, apart from playing Dead Space 3 with our man, what you been doing?
The thing I did this week is I played a game that I've wanted to play for a long time, but for some reason just never sat and played it.
Oh.
And that is What Remains of Edith Finch.
Oh, dude.
Ooh. Yes,
So
okay.
I like a good walking simulator. This is pretty much what it is. It's described as an adventure game, but it's a walking simulator.
Yeah.
But for me, the walking simulator only works if the story's good. Doesn't matter how pretty it looks, what like mechanics they might put in there. If the story's shite, then I just lose interest. But this one, like I absolutely adored this game. Like it's so good. Like just the level of detail in as you're walking around the house and finding out what happened to Edith's family and everything. It's just it's so great. I mean, if you've not played this, basically the game centers around a young girl called Edith who returns back to her family home off the coast of the state of Washington to learn about her relatives, their deaths, and about this so-called curse that looms over the Finch family. And as you go along through, she gets into the house and you find that all the rooms have been sealed by her mother. They haven't been back to the house in something like 4 or 5 years or something like that. And her mum's gone through, everything has been left untouched, and she sealed all the rooms off. And the only way to look into the rooms is through the little like spy glasses on the
portholes, aren't there?
Yeah, portholes on the door. But gradually, there are secret passages and everything around this house. I mean, this house is crazy because it's just a normal. To start off with, it's a normal house, and as the family grew, they've like built onto it. So there's bedrooms that are like tree houses, and they've put like a boat on the top of the house that's someone's bedroom. And
yeah, I'd hate to be surveyor of that house.
Yeah, definitely won't have passed building regs. That's for sure.
Definitely not.
But yeah, you just go by room, just picking stuff out the room, and as you go along, Edith is telling the story. And originally, you kind of, as you start off, it feels like she's telling it to you, and then obviously you find out that actually she's telling it to somebody else.
Yeah,
which you later find out further on in the game. But every person who died has their own like little story, and you play that story out, and it's in such a unique and clever way. Like, it isn't just a case of Edith going into the room, picking something up, and like, this is how my brother died, this is how my great uncle died, etc. She starts to read something, and you get transported into that moment. And the way it's done, it's like, if you've not played this game, I don't want to really tell you how they're done, because they're so clever, and
you don't want to ruin the impact.
Yeah, exactly.
It does that thing that some Nintendo games do, like with Mario, where it introduces gameplay features that you'll never see again after like a 5-minute segment, and it's incredible. It's one of the only walking simulators I can say I love.
I generally didn't see it come in with just the first one when it transports you into it. I was like, oh, you're playing like this, and you get it. And some of it's like played out in a metaphorical way. Like you don't physically play as the character, you kind of play as something else. But
some of it seems supernatural, but it's not really. It's just how you're interpreting it.
Yeah, exactly. It's representing that character and their death. And there's one which is harrowing as fuck. And as you're playing it and you're going along, you're just like, oh, God, I know where
exactly
this is going. I know where this is going, and this is terrible, but I have to carry on playing. Yep. And I was like, and this is awful. This is awful. And I'm just like, keep going. And it ends, you're just like, fuck me.
And the thing is, you know all these people are dead anyway, because you're looking at your relatives, your ancestors and stuff like that. It's such a clever idea. It's a walking simulator that doesn't make you walk in a straight line for miles. Which for me is how you should do these games. Like, I've played Everyone's Gone to the Rapture.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so much
tears.
Fucking walking on it.
I liked it, but I just got lost at one point. I couldn't even work out where I was supposed to be going.
I really enjoyed Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, but yeah, it was a very slow game. It took me a long time to get through.
Edith Finch is snappy, and it's got new gameplay elements right up until the last section.
Yeah, it's like 2 to 3 hours long. You could sit through it and just play it in one go. And
I think it's the pinnacle of that kind of genre, in my opinion. And I'm not adverse to that genre that much. I tend to stay away from it. I'm one of the only people in the world that doesn't like Gone Home. Not into it.
I love Gone Home for a game that's like that you can actually complete in a minute.
Yeah,
technically. Like I said, going into the stories and doing the mini games, that's where it really shines. But having all the stuff, like, are you wandering around the house and it's just little things like there's pictures on the wall and there's just notices, and you can read things and you can look at. They've gone into so much detail where they've actually. So many of these games where you'd walk around and there'd be a picture on the wall, it'd just be a fuzzy. The family in the photo would just be nondescript. You wouldn't be able to see it. But they've taken the time to actually put the families in the photos.
So good.
And
that house actually feels quite lived in when you walk around.
Yes, it does.
Rooms.
Yeah,
I would personally live there, but yeah.
Oh, it's a cool little house, but like it's
not practical,
house.
But it's fun.
No, it's not at all.
It's like something from Roald Dahl, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's.
Did you know about the link between this game and Unfinished Swan, the other game that they made?
No,
apparently Unfinished Swan's one of the stories from another family member. Apparently. So yeah,
that's cool. I never finished Unfinished Swan.
I haven't played it.
It's not great. It'd be good if it was just one of these little sections in Edith Finch. It'd be a lot better that way, I think.
Yeah. There is one section where you actually have to do 2 mini games at the same time.
Yeah,
that was really clever.
Yeah, so
really well done. Yeah, it's really good.
I think it's a knockout game. It absolutely achieves what it's aimed to set to do.
Yeah, I have no idea why it's taken me so long to play it. It was just
I was the same.
I've literally got it on. I've got it on 3 different machines.
I think I got it on PS Plus at one point, and that's the only reason why.
I got it on PlayStation, PC, and Switch, and it's just like, do you know what? I actually have to play this game. It's 3 hours long.
It's still so pretty as well.
Yeah, and I absolutely loved it. Like,
and it's very cheap a lot of the time now as well. So for those that are interested,
well, I've just seen that it's on Game Pass, so I've just sent it to my Xbox to download.
Good man. Good man.
Oh, great! I'd love to hear what
you'll love it, mate.
You'll love it.
Yeah,
I think it's really.
You might
good.
even shed a few tears, pal. It's quite deep.
Yes.
Well, I cried at Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, so I might,
I cried when I realised I'd spent money on that.
I've just noticed here it says on their Wikipedia it won the British Academy Gaming Award for Best Game.
It deserves
completely
it.
see why.
Yeah,
even though it's only 2 to 3 hours long, like the level of detail and the thought that they've put into this is just outstanding.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Well, to be honest,
well,
I cried when I heard you were playing Dead Space 3. To be perfectly honest,
mate, I cried when you started playing Dark Souls. So don't even bother.
Yeah, it was
cries while playing Dark Souls.
It was definitely what I needed after playing a game like Dead Space 3. I tell you that.
Yeah, I think Edith Finch is one of the most perfect palette cleansers in a game ever. If you're playing an open world RPG epic, play that in between something else. It is absolutely perfect for that.
Yeah,
very good recommendation.
Lovely, mate. Thank you. Excellent. So, Biggie, you've been doing?
Yeah, so it came out of a conversation with my mum that she'd never seen The Godfather.
Oh, wow.
So we whacked that on this afternoon. And,
whacked being the operative word.
Poor choice of words when it comes to The Godfather.
Never thought that. But yeah, she really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed seeing it for, God knows, 5th time.
It still looks good, doesn't it?
It's very good.
The cinematography on that film is great.
Outstanding. There's something I want to mention about it later on, but I'll leave that till later. But yeah, just highly recommend that if people haven't seen the trilogy. I don't mind 3.
I don't mind 3. It's just not as
on the
good.
level of 1 and 2.
Have you? Sorry to interrupt quickly. Have you watched that new cut of 3 yet?
Yes.
No.
It might
It's
be
worth
better. Might be worth having a watch that if you're on a. If you go, maybe watch 2 and then watch the new cut and see how that works.
Yeah, I'm
works
definitely
together.
get to watch,
I think the new cut works better, a lot better.
Yeah, I've heard it does. So.
Yeah, really enjoyed that. But wanted to just make because I think Tig mentioned it in the Discord today, and I said, or the other day, and I said, yeah, I'm doing the same thing. So
Cool.
Thanks for that. But yeah, I really wanted to very quickly talk about Line of Duty.
See, now, before you talk about, everyone tells me to watch this, and I thought it was some kind of army program. Because of like Call of Duty, Army.
Yeah, no, I had the same thought when people started telling me to watch it.
Explain it to me without spoiling it for me. Because I won't be able to watch it because it's on BBC, but you never know.
There are other means. It is it's a British police procedural TV drama. It was created by Jed Mercurio, who also wrote The Godfather. Bodyguard.
Francis Ford
did not
Coppola.
write The Godfather. He did the series Bodyguard. But this series began back in 2012.
Wow.
It was on BBC Two. I didn't see it when it first came out, so I picked it up when it was on Netflix, when it first came on there. But it's awesome. It's basically about anti-corruption in the police force.
Oh, right.
There's a fictional department called AC-12. So it follows DS Steve Arnott, played by Martin Compston. He was basically a firearms officer who got transferred to AC-12, which for him felt like it was like a demotion.
Yeah.
After an incident.
Is AC-12 like CID type stuff? More like, investigation rather than...
It's like internal affairs, but...
internal affairs.
It's looking into anti-corruption in the police force. So they basically have all the power
looking for bent coppers.
Yeah, basically. And he ends up teaming up with DC Kate Fleming, played by Vicky McClure, who's a highly commended undercover officer. So they end up on that team, and they work under the supervision of the very famous Superintendent Ted Hastings, which is played by Adrian Dunbar. He is very famous for having lots of memes at the moment.
Oh, I've probably seen him without realising that it's from...
Lots of quotes with this guy. He's got this lovely Irish brogue. One of the comments, I'm not going to do the Irish accent, but he says there's only one thing I'm interested in, and that is catching bent coppers. Frankly, son, right now, I couldn't give a shit. Go back to the coalface, the pair of you, unless you've got more egg-sucking tips for your granny.
Top of the morning to you.
I'm sorry, but just the way that you read it there reminded me of Dean Lerner from Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
I don't know, it had more of a Life on Mars vibe to it.
But yeah, I wish I could do an Irish accent, but I can't.
I bet you can, you just dance.
He says, Mother of God, a lot.
There you go. Okay, you can.
I told you.
Punk's throwing up as we speak.
Yeah, sorry, Punk.
Sorry, Ireland.
He says the letter of the law. He's just got all these sort of Tedisms, as they're called. But yeah, I think it's up to, where are we now? Season
5 just
5?
been on the BBC recently?
Yeah, which is actually on Sunday evenings, which is
I've heard the
annoying.
BBC have pumped millions into this, and it's slick as fuck.
It's so good. Basically, it shows you the procedures about corruption, how they investigate it. So you kind of see how that side of things are done. But it's just the drama behind what they discover and uncover. And each season, they get really good actors in. You've got Lenny James, Thandie Newton, Kelly MacDonald this season, Stephen Graham. Each season, they've got like this really good actor to come in to play the lead role, depending on whether they're good guys or bad guys. But there's a big conspiracy theory throughout the series. It's just, really well written, well acted, very exciting.
My mum watches
I
it.
I hate the fact that I have to wait every week to watch.
Oh, is it one of them? Yeah, my mum watches it. She says she has to have a book with her with notes in it. Is it really that bad?
Not necessarily.
She writes little words and stuff like, I think it's him. Oh, this is one acronym I've learned.
The funniest thing is, last episode, it ends on a cliffhanger, and Ted Hastings has got this piece of paper in front of him, but it's at the wrong angle, so it looks like it's almost upside down on your screen.
Oh, she can't tell.
And he looks at it and he goes, "Mother of God," and then it ends. And everybody basically over the internet has paused that and taken pictures of it and tried to turn it upside down to see if they can read it. You know what I mean? It's like this kind of viral show that comes out once in a while that everybody just falls for. But it is.
Wow.
So I'm assuming once we finish this recording, you'll be heading straight to the iPlayer.
Yeah, if not, I'll watch it tomorrow. But yeah,
so it's a Sunday night thing.
Good.
Oh shit! Sorry, mate.
Yeah, it's so good. So good. I debated about dropping this podcast purely for this series.
What, and then just coming back to us when the series is not on, and then next year.
Yeah, because you need me.
Mate, we are lost without you. I'm not being fair.
This episode is literally named after you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're the beating heart of the show, and we need
You're
you.
nothing without me. Nothing. You can't handle the truth.
I love Sassy Biggie. That's my favourite Biggie.
Yeah, it's a new Biggie. He's had a couple of pops, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has.
He's had half a beer.
Oh, God, I hope I don't get Stig by the end of this.
I feel stigged already, mate. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, the just last thing. Allegedly, it's inspired by true events. Make of that what you will.
Ooh.
But the actual unit doesn't exist. But they have actually had one called AC-10. And the writers work with ex-police advisors to keep the procedures as realistic as possible. So that kind of realism is really cool.
Excellent.
Oh, and then it's on BBC
One.
I'm going to say.
Is it? Did you say it's on Netflix as well, but not the new series?
The original series up to 4 was on Netflix. I don't know if it's still
I've
there,
just
but
checked.
It must be on the iPlayer. So.
I had to check. It's only season 1 on Netflix now. I'm guessing.
If I like season 1, I might pay me my license fee and watch it on iPlayer.
You're kidding. I think a lot of stuff that used to be on Netflix from the BBC now is probably on BritBox. So they might have
BritBox? I've never even heard of that.
Of course, yes.
It's like
just another streaming service.
It's a streaming service for the BBC, ITV, and that.
That's right.
Like got together and made.
Is it on Xbox? If not, I'm not bothered.
Yeah, BritBox is on Xbox.
Oh, right. I might think about it then. Right. So, excellent. So that's Line of Duty, and I have been also watching something on that there Netflix. It came out this week. It's called Love and Monsters.
Ooh.
So I'll give you the synopsis. So 7 years after the monster apocalypse, Joel Dawson, played by Dylan O'Brien, along with the rest of humanity, has been living underground ever since giant creatures took control of the land. After reconnecting over radio with his high school girlfriend Amy, played by Jessica Henwick, who is now 18 miles away at a coastal colony, Joel begins to fall for her again As Joel realises that there's nothing left for him underground, he decides against all logic to venture out to Amy, despite all the dangerous monsters that stand in his way. It also stars Michael Rooker and Ariana Greenblatt. Basically, this film is family-friendly Fallout. So
I'm interested.
It's really. I watched it with a family. It's a 12, so you've got to. Obviously, there's no blood, human blood. There's no explicit swear words. I don't even think there's a fuck in it.
It's allowed one fuck.
I don't think there is one in it. I watched it with my kids, and they found it. Basically, it's Fallout meets Zombieland, but for families.
You're really selling this to me. At this
point.
The way you described it, I was like, all I could think of was, I'm surprised they didn't try to just stick Cloverfield at the start of it.
So that synopsis doesn't do it justice. So basically, I'll give you the opening minute of the film. Basically, an asteroid was about to hit Earth, so Earth joined forces and decided to fire all its nukes at once. The nukes succeeded. The asteroid didn't hit Earth. However, the nuclear fallout irradiated anything with cold blood.
See, they should have called Bruce Willis for this.
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking
he's an expert at this.
He's a great driller. So they couldn't have called Bruce Willis, though, because he died last time with the last asteroid, remember? Spoiler alert.
Not true.
So,
Ben Affleck's still around.
Anything cold-blooded, so sea life, insects, arachnids, those kind of things, they've grown into mutants. So, massive versions of themselves. Some are kaiju size, some are size of bears. Imagine a mosquito the size of a falcon. You know what I mean?
So all the friendly ones?
Yeah, all the friendly ones. But the thing is, there are friendly ones that have grown as well. Like a woodlouse wouldn't hurt you, but it's a big one. Or a snail wouldn't hurt you, but there's a big one there. Do you know what I mean? So basically,
it slimed me.
The main character, he's in a fallout shelter. He survived the initial onslaught of the world ending. He's well liked in his fallout shelter. However, he's only well liked because he makes a mean minestrone. He's not good at fighting. He's not good at scavenging. He's got basically a massive fit. He freezes when anything scary happens, so he freezes solid. So he's terrible. He's not a good 20-something person in a.
Would you say that he's a lover, not a fighter?
He's a lover, not a fighter. So he's good at fixing. He's good at fixing radios. He's good at cooking. That's about it.
I can see where his character arc goes already without even having to.
Dude, it is by the book completely. Yep. You can guess everything that's going to happen. There's a little twist in it that is barely a twist, but it's just a great family romp. So he decides, you know what? I'm sick of being this little nerd stuck in this shelter. I'm going to go find my lost love from when the world was good. Because this was his girlfriend before the world ended, but they got split up. And she's 80 miles away. And everyone's like, do not go on the surface. And he goes on the surface. And he meets people and monsters. And it's just so good. And it's basically family-friendly Fallout Zombieland. It's one of my favourite Netflix films they've done in ages. Don't get me wrong, it's a solid 3 out of 5. But the fact that I could sit and watch it with my family just bumped it up massively. The kids were screaming like, this is cool. It reminded me of 80s movies, those family 80s movies.
Yeah.
And it's so good. I mean, you don't have to have kids to enjoy it. It's just good. There's no human blood in it, but believe me, there's a lot of gore. Creature gore. Do you know what I mean?
I'm assuming they've got bright green blood and stuff.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
standard irradiated monsters.
It's clever, and the CGI looks really good because I believe up close some of these monsters are animatronics, and you can tell. And the actors, apart from Michael Rooker, they're quite unknown. Like the main actor who was in the Teen Wolf series that nobody watched. And so they've saved money on, it seems, on the actors.
The cast.
But they are good they're a good cast. They're up and comers, and everyone in it is really good. It's just, I reckon if you want to watch something that's a little bit scary, but don't like horror films, it's perfect as well. Because it's not going to give you nightmares, but it'll make you go, ooh, look at that. Do you know what I mean? It's thrilling. It reminds me of like caper movies from the 80s. You know what I mean? Indiana Jones and things like that. It's just solid, man. And me and my kids enjoyed it, and Mrs. enjoyed it, and yeah, I recommend it. Love and Monsters. It's on Netflix. It's number 1 in the UK at the moment, so you won't miss it on the big splash page. Just give it some love. It's really fun. So that's what we've been up to this week. Now it's time. Biggie, take it away, hon.
The Oscars, BAFTAs, GMAs, Grammy Awards, and Emmys. What are these if nothing more than a way for big media industries to pat themselves on the back on a job well done? Well, here at Modern Escapism, we say different. We say all these awards mean nothing, because as of today, the only true award that matters is the one we've created to celebrate those things and people that were criminally overlooked. We want to celebrate the forgotten, the snubbed, the people who deserved more recognition from their peers, like me, and we want to give them the highest honour in all of media. Ladies and gentlemen, variations thereupon. Welcome to the Me's. It's the Biggies!
And now, your host for the 2021 Biggies Awards. Please welcome to the stage, Oodles O'Dim.
Hello, welcome to the first ever Modern Escapism Academy Awards for Snubbed Artists and Media, aka the Biggies 2021, brought to you by Holodays. As you've experienced... Hi everyone, hi, hello. As you've experienced, Modern Escapism is a community of like-minded individuals. We're more than a podcast, we're a family, a movement, a culture for participants, volunteers and supporters. Let's celebrate the past years of media and entertainment by acknowledging the great that never won the big awards, that were snubbed by the Academy, the Hollywood Foreign Press and Jeff fucking Keighley. Today could not have been possible without our fans. Please give a big round of applause for all their patience and who have given their time, effort, dedication and so much more to champion the podcast and make this a success. And another big round of applause to our generous sponsors, Holodays powered by Oculus, and our sponsor Disney and Lucasfilm, 20th Century Fox and Greg's the Bakers. Welcome to the Biggies 2021. Thank you. So, let's start this prestigious event with the award for contribution to the stealth genre in video games, hosted by myself, Oodles. This award goes to the game Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell 2004. Round of applause. So, Splinter Cell. The reason I've brought this up is because I believe this game just hit those heights of... I don't know if you guys have remember it fondly as I do.
I do.
Yes.
I was deep into Metal Gear at the time. Deep into Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid. And this game, threw all that Eastern anime away for a more Western, obviously Tom Clancy inspired espionage tale. Now, the story of the original Splinter Cell, I can't remember it that much.
That's because it's entirely forgettable.
Yeah. What I do remember is the pure adrenaline gameplay, the play with light and shadows.
Mm.
And basically, this game didn't win at the Spike Video Game Awards, as it was known at the time. Can you remember what won instead of this for Game of the Year?
Absolutely not. It was 2004, you fool.
2004.
Think.
Half-Life 2.
No, it was Madden 2004.
Fucking hell, okay.
Way.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, that was a good version of Madden in general.
Not disputing that.
But
wow.
Splinter Cell, come on. So, it's a game that kicked off one of the gaming's greatest franchises. We'll forever remember Splinter Cell for the original Xbox. For me, in my head, it is an Xbox game. I know it came out on everything else eventually.
Well, technically it was a PC game first, because I played it on the PC.
Was it?
I'm with Oodles on that. I played it on the
Yeah.
It
Xbox.
feels Xbox to me.
It feels... Maybe that's just the colour scheme of the game as well.
It was
like,
great.
on the cover art.
Yes, Splinter Cell was, I'm pretty sure it was out the year before on PC, and then it was ported to the Xbox, and
Maybe,
a
I'm not
really
sure.
bad port for the PS2. The PS2 port was dreadful.
Yeah, the PS2 had like extra loading scenes before, like halfway through missions and stuff. But I just think Sam Fisher is one of the unsung heroes of gaming icons. He's up there with Master Chief and people like Lara Croft. I think he's he himself, played by Michael Ironside as well. What a voice!
Oh yeah, that voice. I mean, it rivals David Hayter's voice for Solid Snake.
It does.
And also, the actor's called Michael Ironside. He sounds like a fucking spy.
Exactly. It's just.
Ubisoft have dropped so many hints that he keeps going to reappear.
Yeah, he was in Wildlands, wasn't it? Ghost Recon Wildlands and stuff like that.
He's a weird character in something.
I think
I'm waiting for him to get his invite to Smash.
I'm waiting for him to turn up in Fortnite.
Oh god, yeah.
I think Splinter Cell deserves the award for best game of 2004. And please, if you're listening to this, prove me wrong, because I think the series itself in general, even the low points, still better than some other games. You know what I mean? For some reason, people said you can't like Metal Gear and Splinter Cell at the same time. Well, I fucking did, and I liked them for different reasons. And Splinter Cell deserves the biggie. So, round of applause for Splinter Cell. And now to present the next award for Modern Escapism, it's Gadget.
So, for the best sitcom featuring Danny DeVito, the winner is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is, if you're on the internet, you know of its existence. It is one of the most memed comedies of recent years. It's been running for 14 seasons. They're currently making the 15th season with no plans to stop. It started life on... Its entire life has been on FX in the US, and it's been on a handful of channels over here, but most people have watched it on Netflix. It follows the story of five terrible people who own and run a bar in Philadelphia called Paddy's Irish Pub. And they are basically... The best way to describe them is as scam artists. Every episode, they've got some new idea, some new caper, some new take. The story follows twin brother and sister Dennis, played by Glenn Howerton, and Deandra Sweet D Reynolds, played by Caitlin Olsen. Their friend Charlie Kelly, played by Charlie Day, and Mac, whose full name is Ronald McDonald. Who's played by yes, that is his full name.
His name in the show is Ronald McDonald.
Hence why he goes Mac. Played by Rob McElhenney. And then from the second season onwards, you get Danny DeVito as Frank Reynolds, Dennis and Dee's father. And it is possibly one of the most creative programs I've seen in a very long time. I binge watched through at the time when I watched it. They were still making season 13, so I binged through the first 12 seasons of it in about 2 months. They are unashamedly awful people, and they get into the most ridiculous scrapes, but every episode has some kind of message, which is usually, these are terrible people, fuck these people. There is long-run storylines. For instance, in one of the early seasons, Dennis and Dee happen upon someone they went to school with who had become a vicar, and they bullied him in school mercilessly, referred to him through his entire life as Rickety Cricket, and he was madly in love with Dee, and as a result they used that to get something from him, manipulate him into thinking Dee actually has feelings for him. He leaves the clergy, he tries to chase after her, she kind of brushes him off in the most unbothered way possible. The man becomes homeless, and then he becomes a recurring character who gradually descends into worse and worse physical and mental health throughout every season. There's always a cricket episode in every season, and they take great pleasure in winding him up, and it always blows up in their face. And that is the run of the show. It's like a lot of people compared the show to, it's like a modern day Seinfeld, because it is essentially that, because in Seinfeld it was the same thing. They would have some scheme.
Cringe humor, isn't it?
No, it's not really cringe humor, but it was more that there would be some scheme or something happening that the group would try to use to their benefit, and it would blow up in their faces. And it's the same with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. There are some absolute standout episodes. Dennis and Mac move to the suburbs is one of the funniest, tensest episodes that you'll ever watch. There's an episode where Dennis is trying to sell his beloved Land Rover, where in one of the greatest character moments from Glenn Howerton, he stands and screams on a dock At a guy,
I was just thinking about that.
At a guy who wants to buy the car as a starter car for his daughter, and the line goes something along the lines of,
"You'll be taking the car with you on these trips?"
Me? Oh no. I'm looking for something for my daughter.
Your daughter?
Yeah, safe, slow vehicle, good starter car.
A starter car.
That's right.
I have contained my rage for as long as possible, but I shall unleash my fury upon you like the crashing of 1,000 waves! Begone, vile man! Begone from me! A starter car! This car is a finisher car! A transporter of gods! The golden god! I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds!
the greatest one of them all is where the gang buy a boat. And you have this wonderfully awkward scene between Dennis and Mac, where Dennis is, Dennis is a ladies' man. He's always on the take, trying to get girls and all that. And they're buying kind of like equipment for the boat, and he, they're talking about the kind of parties that they're going to have on this boat. And it's like, we'll get women on the boat and we'll go out, and they'll sleep with us because of the implication. Mac's standing there going, what implications? Well, the implication that if they don't sleep with us, some harm might come to them.
What?
That is awful.
Yeah,
He's a horrible human
Mac's
being.
reaction, because it just goes on, because he's going, it's the implication of violence.
Wow.
Yeah. There are online theories that Dennis is actually a serial killer.
Yeah,
And there's
sounds
a
like
fair bit of evidence to back it up.
Yeah.
The greatest character in it is Frank, because Danny DeVito is just allowed to get weird with it. In the Christmas special, for instance, and I'm going to give you this entirely context free. He spends a period of the episode hiding inside a leather sofa, butt naked, and then is forced to in the middle of a party climb through it, a little bit like Ace Ventura climbing out of the Rhino robot.
Oh God!
But naked. Danny DeVito.
But Danny DeVito, not a man in shape.
Yeah, it's hysterically funny. And the saddest thing is, it's never been up for any major awards.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
The only awards it's ever been up for is like technical awards, so like set design and lighting and stuff like that. And I think there was one kind of adapted award for an episode where they parodied something.
It's not like a massive Grammy winner, not Grammys.
Emmy winner.
Emmy winner, is it?
It hasn't even been nominated for Emmys.
But there's a massive, I mean, ravenous fan base. So like when I say thing in Discord, I've only seen series 1 and 2. It's as if I've gone in at Christmas Day and pissed on the kids' presents. You know what I'm saying? Why have you not watched it, you idiot?
And the thing is, and it's worth bearing in mind with this, for all the horrendousness of what the characters get up to, they do a lot of actual really impactful episodes. They do
poignant ones, isn't there?
Yeah, they do an episode where in like season 12 where they rip off The Wiz, which is the kind of
Wizard of Oz.
Well, no, not the the kind of the black culture musical remake of The Wizard of Oz, and they kind of rip it off, and they do an episode showing what it is like to be a black person, and like the injustices that black people can face. But the one that always strikes to me is the season finale of season 13, because, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but in season 12, Mac finally comes out as gay. There's a lot of jokes leading up to that throughout the previous 12 seasons that Mac might be gay. And he actually finally comes out of that. And in the last episode of it, there is this sequence where Mac is trying to come out to his dad. His dad is fucking terrifying. Really, really scary man. And the way that he comes out is he does a ballet. Like Rob McElhenney actually trained.
Wow.
Rob McElhenney trained for 7 months with a professional ballet dancer, learned to dance from scratch. Like, he wasn't a dancer before that. Like, the man is so committed to the role and to the gag. I mean, he gained, in season 7, he gained 50 pounds for one joke that ran throughout the season. But yeah, at the end of season 13, he has a scene, and it's a ballet, and it's the most impactful, beautiful 6.5 minutes of television I've ever seen. And it resonated with me at the time because I saw that at the time that I came out as bisexual.
Yeah.
And it really kind of reaffirmed that the message of that one is not everyone will get it, but the people who can get it.
That's what you want to see, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's what...
even if you don't watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, watch that scene because just the actual artistry of it is wonderful. And it should have won awards. That episode especially absolutely should have won awards.
And without doubt, sounding from what your appraisal and Stig's appraisal and everyone on the internet's appraisal, it absolutely deserves a biggie.
Oh, absolutely.
And
100%.
enjoy it. Always Sunny in Philadelphia for your first biggie, maybe not your last. Thank you very much for that. And now, for Modern Escapism and 2009's Rear of the Year award, it's Stig.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to see some wonderful faces out there. You, hey you, yeah, you, yeah. Excellent. So, I'm here to present the rightful award for the 2015 Best Actor to Jake Gyllenhaal for Nightcrawler.
Woo!
And I'll tell you why. Because this one stings the most for me out of any, snub.
Wow.
Let's go going. In all films I've watched in the last 10 years, this one, this is one of three overlooked things that wind me up the most. The other being Ralph Fiennes being ignored for Grand Budapest Hotel. Despite the film and the director getting an Oscar nod, like the standout performance in the film just gets ignored.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is Your Name, which I touched on in one of our previous episodes for Best Animation. Some tough competition that year, to be honest. But the winner was Zootopia.
Ooh.
And I don't get that. I was looking this up earlier.
I can't stop laughing at that because I thought it was shit.
Yeah, I was just like, let me just check.
I like that movie, but it's not a...
Yeah, I was just like, let me just check. That
Your
year.
Name is beautiful.
Your Name is so much better, and Moana was that year as well, which
Moana's
is a lot
really good.
better than Zootopia.
Yeah.
My Life as a Courgette is an absolutely brilliant film. The Red Turtle as well, and Kubo and the Two String.
Kubo's brilliant.
Kubo. They were the other films that year, and yet Zootopia won, and Your Name
Worst
got
of the
ignored.
bunch.
So yeah,
I
that just really winds me up because it's such a beautiful film. But back to Nightcrawler, like this film stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Rene Russo, and Riz Ahmed. To set the scene, if you haven't seen it, a Nightcrawler is the term for people who work at night to chase down gory tragedies reported on police scanners, so they can be the first to the scene, record it, and then sell that footage to, bid it off to
big news,
news networks.
Yeah.
The lead,
it's a real thing, isn't it? It really.
Yeah. This is a real thing. It's not like it's just a made-up thing for the film. Yeah. There are people in America who troll the cities in their vans at night, and they'll find something happening, a shootout or a fire or a car an accident, and they'll get there and they'll film it. Yeah, and they'll sell it off to news networks.
Or a shocking Oscar result.
Yeah, they should have been there that night, especially when you find out who the winner was. So the lead character in this is Lewis Bloom, played by Gyllenhaal. He's a creepy sociopath videographer who builds a thriving business in Los Angeles as an unscrupulously filming car accidents and murders, and also unnecessary sabotaging his competition. Bloom as a character is someone who's been pretty much done over in life, dehumanized a little bit by the kind of the trickle down economy, like the fallacy of it. It's the point. He's one of these people who have not benefited from the system as it is now, and he's we start the film with him. He's a creepy at the start. You can tell there's something creepy about him from the start, but he starts it. He's a chipper man. He's eager. He's willing to put himself forward and work for free just for the experience, so he can kind of better himself in life to build on a career. But then over the course of the film, he starts to change, and he's almost parasitic in the way he is, like the way that he latches himself onto Russo's characters, especially, and Riz Ahmed's, the way he bullies and controls and manipulates them.
Yeah.
But this film, its film itself, in my opinion, should have been nominated for Best Film. But outside of that, it's Gyllenhaal's performance that stands out above anything else.
Sensational in it.
Yeah, it's easily his best performance ever. And throughout his whole career, I would say this is... for me, this is his best. It's better Prince of Persia. Come on.
Don't ever diss Dan in front of me.
But people at the time saying that, drawing comparisons between him and, a young De Niro, for this role.
I can see it.
Yeah, and like the type of stuff that De Niro did in his
That
young
Taxi
career,
Driver vibe
Taxi
to it.
Driver and Raging Bull,
Yeah.
and
There is. There's an energy.
King of Comedy,
Yeah.
like someone like De Niro used to lose himself so much into those roles,
Yes, he
like
did,
when he was
yeah.
younger, and Gyllenhaal does.
When he was good.
Yeah, Gyllenhaal does the exact same thing with this. He clearly took this role very seriously.
Yeah.
He made himself look very pale and gangly and bug-eyed.
Lack of sleep.
Because he lost 2.5 stone for the role, and Gyllenhaal wasn't a big guy to start with, so losing that kind of weight he's very gaunt looking, and he did what you say about lack of sleep is he actually deprived himself of sleep during the filming of this.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So the character always looked kind of wired and on it and just crazy during the film. But like the way Gyllenhaal plays his character is perfection.
I agree.
It's a role where it's one of those rare ones where you kind of forget about the actor and you see the character. It doesn't happen a lot because, a lot of films are like, well, that's just so-and-so acting and he's doing a very good job. But this one is one where you lose yourself completely in the film and you just see Lewis Bloom, you don't see Jake Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal's really good for that because it was the same with Zodiac and with Brokeback Mountain. You kind of forget that he's playing those
absolutely.
roles.
I think people forget. I think people still think Gyllenhaal as the Donnie Darko, just staring at blank space kind of actor, but he's really method. He can be really method.
Yeah, he's great. He's one of my favorite actors, to be honest.
Yeah, he's really
good. Seen the film Enemy, like that. He's great in that. I mean, the film is just an absolute head blag, but
he's great to watch on screen. He knows how to play a camera.
He makes the characters really raw and intense. And I kind of love that delivery of the corporate lingo he uses to impress the networks. Like he's walking around like smiling and pointing, like kind of going, "Yeah, you, hey, how you doing? How's it going?" And like the kind of lingo he uses is like he's watched YouTube videos on how to get ahead in business and
how to make friends and not alienate people,
how to use business speak and use it effectively. And he's taken that on board, like this is what I have to do, kind of thing. But then like he's so good at just like switching character.
Like when he hires Riz Ahmed's character, and he's giving him all these this, and I'll pay you this, and he's really like on the ball, isn't he? He's really good.
Yeah, he's just like reeling it off quickly, like it's all like in his head. So Riz Ahmed's just like,
what? Okay, sure.
Yeah, but like he does such a good job of switching from that, like when Bloom's playing that like character to the network executives. He's completely different with Riz Ahmed's character, and then when he's alone with Rene Russo again, he's like very manipulative. Like the arc in this film is like he goes from being prey to predator.
I didn't see its trajectory. It proper surprised me as a film. I was like, what the you know what I mean? I was like, wow.
But he plays this role so well that regardless of Lewis Bloom is not a good person.
No.
But within the performance, Gyllenhaal does enough for you to feel a tiny semblance of sympathy towards him.
Yeah, he's not living the American dream like they're all promised.
His actions are terrible, but it's kind of like you feel because of why he's in that situation.
Yeah,
it's very. It's the way. I was thinking about this today, and when we talked about Joker last week, about how the way the Joker goes from where he's at to where he is, it's like he's done bad things, but you can kind of see where he's coming from and why he's ended up in that position. And I think that Gyllenhaal in this does such a good job, like Phoenix does in that, of being able to turn it on and off between.
It's a bit devil's advocate. You sit there thinking, I understand why you've done this. You're not going to get away with it, but I understand. I sympathise with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Yeah, and I just think he's brilliant. I think it is his greatest performance. And I think that when I looked up who was nominated that year, so nominations were Eddie Redmayne for The Theory of Everything.
Okay.
Steve Carell from Foxcatcher. Yeah. Bradley Cooper, American Sniper. Benedict Cumberbatch in Imitation Game. And Michael Keaton, Birdman.
Okay.
Now, I'd give that to Keaton.
I think Eddie Redmayne winning is just wrong.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
that role is a good film and he plays a good part, but it's pure Oscar bait.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even the music on that, everyone was saying, "Oh look, it's Oscar music."
Yeah. Bradley Cooper, American Sniper.
Fuck that.
No, that is just pure US. It's US propaganda, and
it is.
Benedict Cumberbatch is okay. Intimidation Game. It's a good film. It's all right.
But he's good in everything.
I really enjoy Berman. I think it's brilliant. But none of them stand out above Gyllenhaal in this, and to even not get a nomination.
Do you know what I think it is? It's because it was for me. It was after Gyllenhaal's little. He had kind of like a Hollywood vacation. You didn't see him in things for a long time, and he came back with that. I mean, he might have done some little indie projects that I've not seen myself, but he didn't do anything big. And he came with, and I watched that. I watched Nightcrawler quite recently in the past couple of years, and I was like, "Fucking hell! Why is Gyllenhaal not in everything?"
Yeah, he's so good in that. It's just so infuriating that I think it's one of those cases as well where it is, for some reason, when it comes to Oscar season, is unless your film is out between November, end of November and start of February, they're just like, I'm not bothered. You know, the greatest film ever could come out the day after this year's Oscars. Yeah. And it would just get forgotten about the year for the next year. So I think timing was not the right time.
Gyllenhaal where he's a pretty man, but he can make himself not look pretty, which not a lot of pretty men can do that.
Exactly. And
I find it hard.
No, but that it is tough for you, Biggie.
What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
But that's another thing about it is like, he's not Jake Gyllenhaal in this film.
No, he's not.
At all. It's as far from Jake Gyllenhaal as you can get, and it's just an amazing performance that deserved more recognition. And everyone I've spoken to who's watched that film agrees.
Yeah, I think it's sensational.
Yeah,
absolute brilliant. Thank you for that. That's an excellent award and massively deserving of a Biggie. And I think Jake will come and pick it up in person in the next couple of weeks from Stig's house.
Yeah, big fan of the show.
Big fan of the show. And next, for Modern Escapism and the president of the Biggies 2021, it's Biggie.
Hi, thank you. Wow, this award is almost as handsome as me. So tonight I am going to announce the winner for Best Picture featuring an ensemble and not a sinking ship. It's LA Confidential.
Lovely.
Grateful.
So, LA Confidential is a 1997 American neo-noir crime film. It was directed, produced, and co-written by Curtis Hanson. Screenplay was by Hanson and Brian Helgeland, and is based on James Ellroy's 1990 novel of the same name. It's set in the 1950s, and it features a group of LAPD officers who are at the centre of the mix of police corruption and Hollywood celebrity. The title refers to a 1950 scandal magazine, Confidential, portrayed in the film as Hush Hush by the beloved Danny DeVito.
Hey. Award-winning.
There were concerns from the studio in using relatively unknown lead actors in Guy Pearce and Russell Crowe at the time. Russell Crowe should have been awarded Best Supporting Actor, in my opinion, for his role as Bud. But they were also supported by the likes of Kim Basinger, Dave and Danny DeVito, and Kevin Spacey, amongst others. It was nominated for Best Picture, amongst others, but it lost out to Titanic in every other category it was nominated in. It did win Best Adapted Screenplay and a Best Actress for Kim. But I just love this movie. I do, mate.
I'm with you, 100%.
It just features an incredible cast. The story is brilliant. The acting is just right up there. The score was superb. The setting in the 1950s, they delivered that. You just felt like you were there. And I just think the fact that it lost out to the Titanic, which I don't rate at all. Yes, I've worked on cruise ships, but just the scene of the ship.
You're allowed to watch it on a cruise ship.
It's like, that's not realistic. It wouldn't do that.
We go straight through the iceberg.
And I just think the fact that this movie ends on such a great climax, and the fact that the reveal is just dropped in earlier in the movie that you just wouldn't pick up on it as well. It's just so good. So good. And I just ask everyone to reevaluate and rewatch it.
What I love most about it is the casting of Guy Pearce and the role he plays, because like at that point in Guy Pearce's career, he was coming out of Neighbours and he was trying his best to get away from being the pretty boy soap actor. So in a significant 1-2 punch, he does Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and LA Confidential.
Oh, I love Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
They're both great films. But like, if you compare his character in Neighbours to the ones he plays in his first 2 major films, it's like, wow,
you wouldn't put him down for this.
You know,
would you?
Guy
Look,
Pearce
this guy
does
can
one
act.
of the best. He does one of the best American accents from an Australian ever.
oh, aye. Yeah.
He's really good at it. I didn't even know we were from Neighbours for years.
Didn't even know he was Australian.
Oh yeah,
No, he's,
he's
very Australian.
Yeah.
He's more Australian
And
than
in
Russell
fact,
Crowe is.
Yeah.
there was a mention about the guy was worried about having 2 Australian actors in the leads, and Guy actually turned around and said, "Well, for your information, I was actually born in Britain,
Yeah.
and he's not actually Australian." He said Russell Grant, although he's Australian, Russell Crowe
Russell Grant.
is a completely
Imagine
different
Russell
movie.
Grant in this.
It'll be a very different film.
But Russell Crowe is he's
What's your
a New
horoscope,
Zealander.
darling?
He sees himself as a New Zealander, right?
Yeah, something like. I know he's Oceania type, and I know
Oceanic. Check you out, George Orwell.
I know that in Neighbours he had a full thick Australian accent. Maybe
Yes,
we're putting it
he
on,
did.
but he's got a really good American accent.
I've just looked up what the nominees were for that year. And
Just
I think
Titanic, basically.
I think Titanic is the lesser of all the films that were nominated.
So what else was there?
But As Good as It Gets,
Right.
The Full Monty, Good Will
Great
Hunting, and LA Confidential.
Fuck me, that's a lot of good films. A lot of
Good Will
films
Hunting
better than
is
Titanic.
sensational.
Titanic.
The thing
yeah.
is, and there's a conspiracy on the internet. We're reading up on this. It's Oscar bait music. So if it's got a soundtrack key to it that the Oscars resonate with, and think of Titanic, it's got that music, hasn't it? But yeah, back to LA Confidential.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's all I wanted to say about it, really. I just
think if you've not
watch
watched it, just watch it. There's a really good Blu-ray version of it as well, with a load of documentaries on it. That like the documentaries are longer than the film, and it was painstakingly created. This movie,
Yeah.
it took a lot out of the whole production, and I think it deserves a lot more than it got. I think it's incredible.
I'm surprised it didn't win, actually, because it's set in LA and they fucking love
you'd
that.
think so. You'd think
Anything set in LA
nepotism
or
there.
about Hollywood, they absolutely love.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Excellent. Thank you. And LA Confidential absolutely gladly accepts its Biggie Award. Fantastic. And now from Modern Escapism, the host, Oodles. Hello again, everybody. This award is for being better than its marketing campaign would have you believe it is. It's Dark Souls 2, everybody. You knew it was coming. It's here. So Dark Souls 2 should have been the Game of the Year winner of the 2014 Game Awards. Aside from a few tedious sections such as the gutter, which was more complex than Blighttown, the game went above and beyond in its own merit. From Software's Dark Souls 2 had a healthy amount of content, with locations like Drang Lake Castle and the Iron Keep, enjoyable PvP, and a new game plus that is binge-worthy. There are too many reasons to go back and give this game another playthrough. It has since been updated to the Scholar of the First Sin edition, which makes it an even better package. It lost the GOTY Award to what? Can you remember, guys, what it lost the GOTY Award to?
2014. Oh, would it be like
Dragon
Killzone
Age.
Shadowfall or something like that?
It lost to Dragon Age, as Stig said. Dragon Age Inquisition, a game I have started playing 4 times and got bored after the first few hours.
Oh, dear.
What I need to say is Dark Souls 2 isn't the black sheep of the trilogy. It's a sensational game. Praise the sun. Have you all played it?
Of course.
I haven't played a single Dark Souls. You know this.
And
Right.
also, Oodles, I'm very impressed that it's taken you 32 episodes to finally talk about Dark Souls 2.
I know, because I love it. I absolutely. I think it's one of those rare games that people don't like it because Miyazaki didn't direct it, and I think that's the only reason they don't like it. It's
Yeah,
like
I get
It doesn't get talked about much. I mean, I don't know, but like everyone talks
doesn't
about
get
Dark
talked about
Souls
as much.
or Dark Souls 3. Like very little I've ever
it's
heard
because
about people
it
mention
went away
2.
from the what Demon Souls and Dark Souls did. It was.
Is it any easier?
Yes, it is easier.
It is actually, yeah. There's a lot of player concessions in it.
Yeah, it is easier, and it's to the point where in my opinion, it's the most replayable of the trilogy. There's so much content in there now because it's been remastered and it's got all the DLC. Whichever version you buy, it's got everything in it. It's got to be 150 hours worth of content minimum.
Easily,
minimum.
I do agree with a lot of people in that the biggest problem with the game is the DLCs are the best part of the game.
Yes,
like
I agree.
because not because the main game is bad, but because the DLCs are like next tier above them.
Yeah.
The problem with Dark Souls 2 is it had a really fractured development process, and it was basically built and scrapped twice before it was finally put together. So whereas the first Dark Souls had a very tight vision and everything,
people weren't expecting it as much either.
No, and people had no expectations for Dark Souls.
Yeah.
But it had a very tight vision, and it was basically refined to a knife's edge. Like it was very Miyazaki is a very specific director. He's like he's like the Quentin Tarantino of game directors. Like everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be right.
Yeah, you have to be able to see every environment in the distance.
Yeah.
For it to count, for it to exist.
With Dark Souls 2, they changed directors halfway through. The game wasn't. The first two versions of the game weren't actually fun, and also Bandai Namco were kind of really pushing for the game to come out in 2014, when really the game kind of needed another year, because of all the setbacks. So the game that came out, it wasn't a bad game, but it wasn't as good as the first game, and they fixed all of that with Scholar of the First Sin, at least in my opinion.
It made it superior. That it's like if you can get the original version, it's very difficult to get hold of the original version now. You'd have to play it offline, wouldn't you? The original version it's a lot more barren than the updated version. You won't know if you've never played it before, and the fact that people expected it to be a sequel because of the number 2, and it's in the same universe. Barely. It's not a follow-on. Barely in the same universe. It's not a follow-on. And people didn't like the fact that it went a bit more gamified rather than... So basically, Dark Souls 2 is the main hub is a circle, and you go off on spokes, and like a wheel. Yeah. You go to different sections, unlike Dark Souls 1, where it's just a labyrinth. So
yes, I can confirm that.
It makes it easier for people that are not attuned to that way of playing get into it. There's a lot more weapon variety. There's a lot more fashion, and I love fashion. It would win a fashion award.
Oh yeah,
and there's power stances. There's things like when you get to a certain level, you can wield the weapons that you've been wielding for so long differently. So there's even more replay value to it, and I just think it gets overlooked because of it was rushed. Bandai Namco literally have admitted to saying you need to make this game harder before you bring it out because we've marketed it as the hard game. Get good. So they made it harder, and then when the Scholar of the First Sin edition came out, they balanced it. They balanced it perfectly. If you've played both versions, which, like I say, it's very difficult to play the original version seemed a lot harder because enemies just had bigger health pools and things like that, and there weren't as many item drops, there weren't as many weapons. But this redefined version, the Scholar of the First Sin version, which is probably the only version you're going to find, it's just perfect. It's perfect Souls-like. It's a great video. Don't get me wrong, there are parts of it where you'll go up an elevator and end up in a lava mansion, which makes no sense. But it's timey-wimey and spacey-wacy. It's not as interconnected as the first game. But just fuck it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just enjoy it.
I have it also ready to go when I need to.
I genuinely think, Biggie, from your background of gaming, you'll prefer 2 because it's more of a game than Dark Souls 1 is. Dark Souls 1's... I always see it as... Dark Souls 1's like a really, really, really beautiful painting in the Louvre. Dark Souls 2 is a digital version which you can zoom in on. Do you know what I mean? you can get further in. But it's not the real thing. It's like
Hollow Days.
It's Hollow Days, yeah. Proud sponsors of the Biggies. It's just a really good game. It's not gonna change your opinion on the series. It's just solid, and it lost to Dragon Age Inquisition, which for me is one of the most boring fantasy RPGs I've ever played. And I like Dragon Age 1 and 2. And 2's shit. But Dragon Age, I can't get into it. Have you guys played Dragon Age Inquisition?
I looked at it once and fell asleep.
Yeah, it's
I
so
tried
boring.
and I couldn't get into
There's
it.
going to be people screaming at us.
Like, for me, Dragon Age Inquisition, it doesn't have the action or the charm of something like, say, I don't know, like Diablo 3, which was out around the same time. It doesn't have the entertaining jank of Skyrim. It doesn't have the
It doesn't have the conversations like Mass Effect.
No, it doesn't have any multiplayer, so you couldn't even like have an interesting MMO out of it. So yeah, it's just a dull. It's
just
fantasy by
fucking
numbers.
shit. But people loved it. It got Game of the Year so much, and Dark Souls 2 came out in the same year. So please, if you've fallen off Demon Souls or Dark Souls, try Dark Souls 2. It's the game version of Dark Souls. It's a game rather than a rite of passage, and it deserves a biggie. And now again, from Modern Escapism, it's Gadget.
Oh my god, I'm back up here again. God, will you turn these fucking lights down? It's so bright up here. Where's my whiskey? Anyway, yes, I am here to present the award for Best Action Film, tied also with Best Use of a Helmet in a Film. I'm talking about 2012's Dread. The newest adaptation of Judge Dredd, brought to the cinema, directed by Pete Travis and written by Alex Garland, completely undoes the atrocity that was the Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd from 1990.
I am the law!
I am the law! I am the law!
Adrian!
It stars Carl Urban as the titular Dredd. We also have Lena
John
Headey.
Dredd, isn't it?
John
His first
Dredd.
name John. Pretty sure it's John Dredd. Judge John Dredd.
Yeah, just because they like that alliteration. Also starring Lena Headey as the baddie. Olivia Thirlby and Wood Harris are also in this one, who I don't recognise their names at all. But essentially, the problem with Dredd was that it was a film about them ascending a tower block in Mega City 1 to get rid. I think it was to rescue some hostages and to get rid of a load of baddies, which was coincidentally in the same year as The Raid came out.
Yes.
And The Raid was a much more popular film. It was a sensational film in its own right, but I like Dredd because Dredd is a fantastic film. I don't really have much to say about it. It is just a really good film. Carl Urban does a fantastic job playing Judge Dredd.
He's the best Dredd. Full stop.
Yeah, he is an actor who understands 2000 AD. He understands the source material. He has a love for the source material because Carl Urban, as we all know, is a fucking gigantic nerd in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a man who starred in Lord of the Rings and The Boys and Judge Dredd. Like, the man's bounced around a lot of nerdy properties. He remembered the one key rule is that Judge Dredd never shows his face.
Ever.
As far as the world should be concerned, Judge Dredd's face exists from the end of the nose downwards. That's all of his face that exists.
And he gets that perfect, like how he maintains that scowl.
Oh, the scowl's perfect.
Because he can't fucking see.
Lena Headey plays an excellent baddie, and we already knew she was excellent at playing a baddie because we had already seen her as Cersei at that point.
I think this is better than Cersei.
It's more unhinged. I think.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know about that
character. Well, I mean, okay, maybe not by the end.
of
Game of Thrones, but by that point.
Yeah,
the character she was playing was kind of genuinely hinged. It has a really cool. It takes the 2000 AD aesthetic, but then kind of marries it up with kind of what it would look like in real life, with also like a tinge of cyberpunk to it.
Yeah,
it's got a banging soundtrack. It looks brutal. It sounds brutal.
It's got loads of practical effects.
Oh, I think it's all practical effects, apart from a few things with the bikes and the
city,
lawmakers.
obviously.
Yeah, in the city.
Yeah.
It was made on a very small budget. I'm trying to find what the budget.
But you can't tell. You can't tell it's made on a small budget.
So it was made for $30 million.
Wow.
But it only
that is low,
but its box office takings in profit were only $41.5 million, which is
it deserves so much more.
It deserves so much more, but it's obviously why it
that.
hasn't had its sequel since then. I know there's been the constant talk about another film, or a TV series.
Dread versus Death, wasn't there? That's what there was.
Which would have needed.
I really want to see that.
I would love to see that, but the amount
that would have been $100 million film.
Yeah,
exactly. You'd have a CGI Judge Death forever, all the way through it.
Exactly, and I'm actually now just like looking down Wikipedia to find like the awards on it, because the thing is, Dredd wasn't actually nominated for an Oscar.
That's ridiculous.
It wouldn't get nominated for an Oscar. I think Dredd is on an MTV Movie Award kind of level, isn't it?
But it didn't get any of them.
But I was just looking, and it should have been on there. At least Carl Urban should have been.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think The Raid is better, and The Raid 2 is just fucking batshit. But I still think Dredd deserves some recognition, even if it's just for leading cast or stunts or just the award for how the fuck did you make this for $30 million or what?
So you make a good point there, right? Which is, I was going to bring this up again later, but I'll bring it up now. Stunts. Why the fuck is there no award for stunt work?
Yeah, which is one of the hardest parts of a film.
You have awards for makeup and clothing and everything else, and rightly so, because it all contributes towards the film.
Yeah.
So why is there nothing to do with stunts? Because in the
80s and 90s, Jackie Chan would have won it every time.
That's perfectly fine.
But he's allowed to.
Even the smallest films where you don't think there was no stunts in this, there is. There's a lot of stunts in.
They
Like,
have
really small
stunts
films.
like getting into a car because the car's too low down, so they won't let the lead actor do it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
or just driving a car.
Driving
like
a car, yeah.
Yeah.
but the thing is, there's some absolutely brilliant stunt work in Dredd, and
Yeah, exactly.
and,
There is.
and again, as you say, not much of it is CGI because they didn't have the budget for that, so they did the practical effects. Even if it was like for the fucking MTV Movie Awards or the Sci-Fi Movie Awards or anything like that, Dredd should have had a lot more.
People love those little astronaut statues.
Yeah,
It's a worthy award.
Dredd should have had some trophies, and I won't hear a word against it.
It needs more love anyway from like outside of.
If you've not watched
like the
Dredd
cult.
and you're listening to this, stop it, pause it. We'll allow it this once to pause
It's
it
the
and watch
law.
the film.
Oh, it's
Dredd
such a good
is
film.
really, really good. It is a Western raid. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot less flying kicks, but
A lot more
it
guns,
does enough
though.
different to differentiate it. You could even have a Raid Dredd marathon, to be honest.
Yeah,
It'd work in unison perfectly. And
There's
the
more
fact,
incendiary ammo.
for me, for my money, and I'm a big 2000 AD fan,
Shots.
that is the best looking Mega City 1 I've ever seen.
oh, absolutely, yeah.
It looks Middle Eastern. It looks like apocalyptic. It looks how you'd expect a city the size of a country would look.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It's vertical. It's beautiful. It's so good.
Yeah. Give me more Dredd, that's all I'm asking.
Give me more Dredd. Dredd versus Death. I'll fund it myself. Here's £10. Make it.
Take all that holidays money instead of sponsoring natty award shows.
Absolutely. This award show is not... It's a great award show. And now, for Modern Escapism again, it's Stig.
Hey!
He's had a few things to drink.
I have been smashing that free bar. I am stigged. Let's get on to the new. What is this? Winner of Best Drama Series, The Wire.
Woo!
Oh, yes.
The Wire.
The Wire. Arguably one of the greatest TV dramas of all time. If you look up any list of greatest TV shows of all time, 99% of the time, you will find The Wire on that list.
Yeah, agreed.
Anyone who's watched The Wire will probably have this in their top 10.
Top 5.
Yeah, even
Top
there, it's
5?
in my top 5.
Yeah.
It's my top 2.
Oof,
Just beaten
wow.
up, just beaten up by The Sopranos.
Yeah.
The show tells the story of the Baltimore drug scene as seen through the eyes of drug dealers and law enforcement, so you see it from both sides. This isn't a cop show. This isn't a
This is a people show.
street level show. This is it's about both sides, and you see it it's a show that starred and propelled the careers of the likes of Dominic West, Idris Elba, Michael Kenneth Williams, and it's undoubtedly one of the best written shows of all time. It's so grounded in reality. It's like one of the grittiest and rawest representations
But
of
still slick as well.
of the drug problems in American communities you'll probably ever see in a drama. The scripts, the acting, the directing, everything in this show is exemplary.
Mm.
However, having said all that, The Wire will forever be the biggest Emmy snub of all time.
Agreed.
This show was not nominated for any of its great work across acting.
Wow.
Did not win anything across acting, writing, or directing. It was only
Bollocks.
it was only ever nominated twice for writing.
Wow.
So its whole show, a show that's brimming with amazing acting, directing, and writing, it never received a single award.
It makes you a bit sick, really, thinking about it.
It baffles me how. I mean, the Emmys are it's a very weird show, the Emmys, because they have comedy and musical over here, and then drama over here, and they seem to just put them into that. But yeah, The Wire never ever receiving a nomination for Best Show, at least.
So what did? What won it when that came out?
So I went and had a look at this, and these are great shows, in my opinion. So at the same time, the likes of The Sopranos, The West Wing, and 6 Feet Under were all getting nominations.
Well, that is a tough category, though.
So it's a tough category, but it should be in there because when you consider the other nominees during its run were CSI,
Boring.
24, which I love 24, but it's not better than The Wire.
I think 24 is a bit trashy.
It gets
a bit
worse.
popcorny.
Starts off
I love
really
24,
strong,
but it's a bit popcorny, isn't
it's
it?
Not 24 won one year in there. I think it was for one of its final series. I think it's probably more of a we've nominated this so many times.
It's got to win.
Let's give it its award. And I think a lot of these as well were probably nominations based on the zeitgeist at the time. Lost, Heroes.
Lost is not good. I'm going to say it on record now.
Great.
Lost is not a good show. You can write in and argue with me. It is.
It started off as the best show in the world.
The first episode,
then,
the first series. No, the first series is brilliant.
It sets it up really well.
No, it is shit.
It's not. The first series is brilliant. It leaves you with all these things, but that is typical J.J. Abrams. We're not here to get to that. That is typical Abrams. I've set up this world. Now I'm just going to go
fight J.J. Abrams. I'm going to fight him on the streets.
But these were good shows. Lost, Heroes, Grey's Anatomy, when they Boston Legal, and Dexter. They're all good shows when they first came out, and you can see why they got nominations. These were new shows that were the big talk of the internet, and everyone was watching.
Oh yeah, they were all there.
Perfectly fine to get nominated, but the fact that The Wire in all of that run didn't get even a single nomination.
Mate, if it weren't for people chatting all the time at work, I would never have watched The Wire. It's so
good. Like the 1 year, the first season of The Wire that year was Sopranos, West Wing, 6 Feet Under, 24, and CSI.
Yeah,
you could easily get rid of CSI. It's just gubbins.
Mate, CSI is fucking. There's like 5 good episodes of CSI, and they've copied other things.
Yeah,
one of the best CSI episodes is copying Kill Bill Volume 2. The buried. Do you remember that episode? What Tarantino actually directed?
No, I've just seen
CSI is
few episodes here and there, and it's just like compared to The Wire, it's just.
Oh my God, we found his sperm all over these curtains.
Some of the way they come up with some of the ways they come up with like catching things. It's like whatever. But yeah, I'm wanting a Biggie for Best Drama Series to correct the wrongs.
Absolutely.
The Wire was never given an award for Best Show or even a nomination.
Yes, and if you're listening to this, I have seen the collection for £20 on Blu-ray. Get it. You will not be let down.
Well, I'm sorry. Did you just say The Wire's going for £20?
£20. I've seen it. I've seen it recently. Get it.
Tell me where, because
I will send you the link.
Mm-hmm.
It is a sensational show. For my money, he absolutely deserves a Biggie, and I hope Idris would accept this award on The Wire's behalf. I know he listens to the show, and we will send it out in the post. Excellent. Again, the president of the Biggies, it's Biggie.
Yes, I am back. Thank you. What? Yes, I am breathtaking. Yes. No, not you. So yes, I'm here to announce the winner of Best Actress Award for 2018. And tonight it is Hereditary with Toni Collette. Now, I have mentioned this movie before, but in case listeners aren't aware, Hereditary is a 2018 American supernatural. What is wrong with me?
Supernatural. It's supernatural, baby.
Banging out these episode titles.
It's a supernatural horror drama written by Ari Aster and directed. He also did Midsummer, which I really recommend.
Oh, yeah.
It was his directorial debut, and as previously mentioned, it stars Toni Collette, Alex Wolff, Millie Shapiro, and Gabriel Byrne as a family haunted by mysterious presence after the death of their grandmother. Rotten Tomatoes puts this best. Hereditary uses its classic setup as the framework for a harrowing, uncommonly unsettling horror film whose cold touch lingers long beyond the closing credits. And I thought about this movie a lot. It really got its teeth into me.
Yeah.
It just hovered in my mind.
Yeah.
Days after watching it, I just thought it was so good. I actually watched it 2 days later after watching it. I just had to watch it again. Having experienced grief myself more times than I care to mention, her performance of her character's stages of grief were just incredible. Whether it's the initial shock or that fog that you go through afterwards, and then to the climatic end of the movie, she was 100% snubbed, in my opinion.
I think Toni Collette's really unsung as an actor. To be honest.
I first saw her in
Little Miss Sunshine. I saw. Oh, she was in Sixth Sense as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But she's had a fantastic career.
Yeah.
But she was nominated for various awards for no less than 11 times for this performance. She won 5, but none of the big ones. For the Oscars in 2018, Frances McDormand won it for 3 Billboards.
That is a really good film, though.
Great performance. But personally, I just feel Toni Collette was just better. But unfortunately, horror generally tends not to get
doesn't win, does it?
So she would have been up for the Oscars in 2019. I'm not sure who the other nominees are. I haven't had a chance to find that out.
Just Stigl now.
Yeah. Olivia Colman won that for The Favourite, playing Queen Anne. To be fair, she's brilliant in that.
Yeah,
I thought it was really good.
I can't disagree with that one.
Yalitza Aparicio for Roma, Glenn Close for The Wife, Lady Gaga for A Star Is Born, and Melissa McCartney for Can You Ever Forgive Me? I really like A Star Is Born.
I like the original better.
I get a lot of shit for liking that film, but I think it's a really good film.
Movie.
I like Bradley Cooper in it. He's really good.
Any other kind of movies like that? You know,
but I do agree that Toni Collette should have been in the chatter for that year because
when people talk about horror films and stuff, they talk about this. They always bring up Hereditary. It's like one of the modern staples of horror now, and thriller, should I say? It's like it's up there. Do you know when people like do a modern list of horror films? Because I think horror's not what it used to be. Horror used to be about Freddy Krueger attacking teenagers and Jason Voorhees attacking anyone that did anything illegal. But nowadays horror's more sophisticated. It's not slasher. Do you know what I mean?
Hostel, those kind of movies ruined gore because it just became it's just repetitive. Yeah. We've all seen gore and it's worse.
The Saw movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But now,
so I
Hereditary
think is just more
it's cerebral.
Unsettling, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. And I'm looking for movies like that now that make me think more and keep me on the edge.
Agreed, mate.
Not all the time, don't get me wrong, not every day. Just
every morning I sit up and watch Hereditary.
I need to be on edge.
Excellent.
So that's my choice for my biggie.
Excellent. So, yep, she well and truly deserves a biggie. So, brilliant. And now for Modern Escapism, the host of Modern Escapism, Oodles, with his final nomination. Hello. This is my last pick. This is the award for most believable, forbidden passion and true love. And it goes to Brokeback Mountain, directed by Ang Lee. So, Jack Nicholson couldn't contain his surprise at the 2006 Academy Awards as he announced that Crash had bested Brokeback Mountain for Best Picture, even mouthing, "Whoa!" at the podium. Brokeback, a love story between two cowboys, Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger, had been the favourite to win. But Crash, a drama centred around racial tensions in LA, ultimately took Best Picture. It's gone down as one of the biggest head-scratches in Oscars history, with even Crash writer-director Paul Haggis questioning his win, Was it the best film of the year? I don't think so, Haggis said in a 2015 interview. Now, I think Brokeback Mountain is one of those films that will stand the test of time. It's very progressive. It's a believable love story. It's a forbidden love story. It's the fact that these two gentlemen had wives at home and they went out to work for 6 months on a mountain and fell in love. They were both of the actors surprised that they fell in love with each other, but it just did. And that's what the forbidden love is. It's when I first watched it, I was like, I'm not watching this. I'll be honest, I was a bit bigoted about it. I was like, I'm not watching this. It's about gay cowboys.
I think a lot of people were. Like
I'm being honest about it. That's what I was feeling at that time. And then I watched it. It's not about gay cowboys. It's about two people falling in love. And they shouldn't have fallen in love, but it's circumstances, isn't it?
It's not that they shouldn't have fallen in love. They fell in love quite naturally. The problem is it's the society
it's
that lived in
natural
at the time. Yeah,
yes, yeah.
Like I've seen it, and one thing that I kind of enjoy with it is that it's very respectful of their love. Like it's not you see a lot of kind of like moments of kind of gay romance in films where, unless they're Oscar bait films, like is it Moonlighting that was a couple of years ago?
Yeah, Moonlighting, yeah.
But yeah, a lot of films that represent like kind of gay relationships can be very gratuitous with it, and a lot of gay relationships in films aren't treated with the same respect as straight relationships. So seeing how they did in Brokeback Mountain was actually really refreshing. Like it's
so progressive, wasn't it, for the time?
It's just portrayed as two people falling in love naturally. It doesn't lean on the fact that they're gays. They're men. You know, it doesn't do that kind of thing. Which
it's
a
the
lot
fact
of
that they
films
were
have done
married
in the
to
past.
people back at home, wasn't it? That was
that's the forbidden part of it.
Yeah. And the thing is that the fact that he came off the back of Hulk and The Hire, which not a big fan, and I like Ang Lee as a director. Like we've got Life of Pi, Crouching Tiger, and Sense and Sensibility. Do you know what I mean? He did really, really fucking powerful, poignant films, but I think this is his magnum opus. I think it's perfect. And Crash, yeah, I've seen Crash, but it's wholly forgettable. It's completely forgettable. Like you've probably all seen Crash, but what were your favourite moment?
I've never watched it because everyone just said how shit it was. So I just
it's messy.
Bother.
It's a messy film. It's got a good message.
I've seen the other film called Crash. Now that's a very different film.
Yes,
very much so.
But I think Brokeback Mountain, just cinematography wise, the fact that Ang Lee's not scared to just look at nature for an extended period of time, it just shows his artistry as a director, and the cinematography as the fact it doesn't. I don't think it specifically tells you the time for. I know it's like the 70s, 80s, isn't it? Something like that when it's set, but it doesn't specifically tell you. All you know is that these men have to go work on the mountain to provide for the families, and
I think it's one of those. It doesn't matter when it was set.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, does it?
Because they're completely isolated from the rest of society.
Months and months.
And this is going to sound weird to say. It's a refreshingly claustrophobic film.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Because 99% of the film you spend with just these two people.
Yeah, it's very intimate, isn't it?
It is very intimate.
But I don't even want to call it intimate because, like I said, I think it feels like a bit more claustrophobic because they are in such close quarters. Like
yeah.
I meant with them, when you're the viewer with them, you're there. Not their relationship. It's just the fact that you're there seeing it happen.
And there's that kind of that initial awkwardness when they're kind of sorting through their feelings for each other, and kind of until something happens.
Yeah.
There's a fair bit of tension and a fair bit of uncomfortableness about it, and I think it's almost like watching like a teenage romance film where you've got characters who explicitly don't know anything about love.
Well, I don't think either of them knew. I don't think either of them went into that with a plan. Do you know what I mean?
No, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah.
And by the end, when he's saying like, "I can't quit you," rather than "I don't like that I'm in love with you," it's like, "I can't quit you. I can't stop this," even though technically in that society, I'm not allowed to love you. And I think it hits you there. You don't have to be gay. You don't have to be straight. You don't have to be anything. It hits you. We've all been in love, and we've all been the person that's been at the other end of someone saying, "I need to stop loving you now. Go away, walk away." Do you know what I mean? And it hits, and I fucking bawled my eyes out watching that film, and I've seen it multiple times, and I will still bawl my eyes out at it now. Yeah. I think it's beautiful, and I genuinely think it's Ang Lee's best film. Honestly, I know it's not Crouching Tiger. I mean,
yeah,
nothing is.
I was going to say I thought Biggie was going to cut you there
with my sword of destiny.
I think when you look at Crouching Tiger and then you look at Brokeback Mountain, it proves what Ang Lee is, and he's an auteur. He knows cinema, and it doesn't matter if it's Western style or Eastern style. He can fucking do it. Let's disregard Hulk. Let's always disregard Hulk. I don't think that was Ang Lee's fault.
Even though his name's on the box.
Yeah, I don't think he ever read a comic in his life. But yeah, I think Brokeback Mountain deserved that win over Crash. Don't get me wrong, it's won awards. It's won many awards. But Best Picture, there's not many films that's hit me like that film hit me and subverted my expectations as a moviegoer. And as someone that considered myself, it changed my attitude. It changed my attitude towards that kind of look. And for the better, which, if you've not seen Brokeback Mountain, there's so many memes and horrible, horrible shit you've heard about it. Ignore that. It's just a fucking great, great film.
Yeah, it's well worth it.
I got emotional then. And that's how much it proved to me. So, yeah, it definitely deserved a biggie. And now, for the final award from him, it's Gadget from Modern Escapism.
Hello. So I'm going to give you a very short one here, but this is the Stephen King Award for Holy Shit, Are You Stealing My Style? And this goes to the 2010 video game Alan Wake for Best Story.
Oh, shit, yeah.
And Best Writing as well. So Alan Wake was, as I said, 2010 game by Remedy. Told the story of the titular Alan Wake, who is a struggling horror writer who decides to get away from it all. He's struggling to write his new book, Deadline, I think it's called, which is ironic that he's suffering from deadline issues. He takes a holiday in rural Washington State with his wife. They get, they as tradition goes with horror games, they rent the creepy lodge on the lake.
Because, and you have to cross a fucking rickety bridge to get to it.
Yep. And when he gets there, he finds a typewriter with the first page of his new book written in it. He hasn't written anything there at all. And there is a scream, and his wife disappears. And throughout the story of the game, you have to go through the town of Bright Falls, I think it's called, or Brightness Falls, or something like that. Yeah, you have to hunt your way through this town to try and find what happened to your wife. As you go, you find pages of the manuscript that Alan hasn't written yet, but then dictate the things that are going to happen in front of him. The enemies are referred to as the Taken. They are shadow monsters that you have to shine your torch on and then plug them a couple of times with a shotgun to kill them. As a game, it's bang average. I mean, it's a good game, but like the gameplay wise, it's just, there isn't much unique about it other than this kind of shine the light on them, shoot them kind of thing. But it's just, it's like any game, find the weak spot and kill them. It is very tense, but the writing is superb. Remedy took a lot of what they learned from Max Payne, where Max Payne had that kind of noir comic book feel to it and the really schlocky dialogue, and they kind of pushed it forward with this one, and the story is absolutely brilliant for it.
Does it take a lot of inspiration from that David Lynch TV show?
Twin Peaks. Yeah, there's
Twin Peaks,
a lot of Twin Peaks. There's a lot of Stephen King. There's a lot of kind of classic American horror or classic.
A lot of Twilight Zone as well.
A lot of Twilight Zone in there.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play that.
Oh, it is absolutely worth it. Yeah, it's a really good game. Like I say, the gameplay is nothing revolutionary, but it's really enjoyable. Also, like Remedy are really good at world building. There is a point where you go to a retirement home in it, and you meet a couple of old rockers.
What's the name? Some Sons of Asgard or something?
Something like that. I can't remember. But part of their little kind of part of the story is you have to then play their music
to scare the ghosts.
To scare the ghosts away. But also that band then is in Quantum Break and in Control. Like all these universes are linked together.
It's all in the same world, yeah.
Yeah,
Clever.
they're really, really good. Just as a
Apparently
comparison,
it's in the Max Payne universe as well.
yeah, or rather, I think it's just the Remedy universe at this point.
Yeah.
But I did look up. So this game came out in 2010. The 2010 BAFTA Video Game Awards in the story category. The nominees were Assassin's Creed 2, Batman: Arkham Asylum, Broken Sword: The Shadow Templars, Shadow of the Templars, rather.
Is that a remaster? A remake?
Yeah, the director's cut version of it.
No thanks.
Brutal Legend.
No. Tim Schafer, wasn't it, that one?
Yeah, Dragon Age Origins.
Ugh.
And anyone want to hazard a guess at what won that year? So 2010.
It weren't Brutal Legend, please. Not that. It's such a lie.
No. I
That's
haven't
such a
mentioned the
lie.
winner. Those were the nominees, so but there is a winner as well.
2010. I don't know.
Orange Box.
Nope.
It's not Call of Duty.
Dark Souls.
Nope. Dark Souls
Medal
was
of
no,
Honor.
yes.
Look at him trying to give fucking little dig at Half-Life there.
Is it Half-Life 2?
No, that came out in 2007.
Uncharted 2: Among Thieves.
Oh, it's really good though, that one.
Yeah, but I mean, Brutal Legend and Dragon Age Origins over the story of Alan Wake?
No way.
Exactly,
On earth.
yeah.
No way on earth. like Dragon Age Origins, you may as well have just gone, guys, think Tolkien, and we've got a game.
It's a great game, but not a game you go to for the story. It's like a proper old school RPG.
There's trolls, I'm telling you.
Yeah, like I say, there isn't much to say on Alan Wake other than because otherwise you would end up spoiling it. But the story is really good. The game takes you to some very fun places.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Aside from the story, like the visuals, it looks really good for a 2010 game. Like it was one of the best looking games on the Xbox 360 for a very long time.
By far, yeah.
It's got a very striking visual style. Everything is kind of reasonably realistic to the real world. It looks
lighting based as well, isn't it?
Yeah. A lot of stuff
really
done with light.
lighting.
And it's got that look of a kind of horror TV show or a horror film. It is really.
Did you play the American Nightmare DLC?
Yeah, and I didn't like it as much. I mean, the gameplay was.
It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's too arcadey, but I would really, really like Remedy to make another Alan Wake game because I think it's a universe ripe for it, and it suits Sam Lake's absolute fucking weirdness and his desire to create
Alan Wake
strange
is
shit.
He's in
control,
isn't he? Officially.
Yeah. And
so maybe we'll get that.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people are thinking, "Ooh, maybe we're going to get another Alan Wake game in the future." So hopefully, yay! But yeah, definitely Alan Wake for the best story for 2010. Great game.
It deserves a biggie, 100%. Yeah. And now, finally, for Modern Escapism, the president of the Biggies 2021. It's Biggie.
Hi, thank you. So, for me, this one is truly deserved. It's best golden idol for an archaeologist. It's Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. So, Harrison Ford has had an incredible career in films, but the one role that outshines all of his others, in my opinion, is as Indy. It's pretty much one of the only films of his where I forget I'm watching Harrison Ford and I'm just running alongside Indy on his adventures. He showed a different side to Indy in each of the three movies. First, we see Indy as a confident adventurer. Second, as a father figure in Temple of Doom. And then as a son in Crusade. You actually believe that this professor of archaeology is actually an adventurer with a bullwhip and a hat in tow, fighting against the supernatural and the Nazis. He has been honoured for his service in cinema and was nominated for many roles, including Witness and Golden Globes for The Mosquito Coast, The Fugitive and Sabrina. But for me, Harrison Ford will always and only be Indiana Jones.
Han Solo.
And I feel he deserves a biggie for that character alone.
I genuinely love Indiana Jones as a character. However, we cannot avoid the elephant in the room of the Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls.
Yeah.
Which is why I didn't mention it.
But it did exist, and it does exist.
I heard that the Biggie was offered as a Lifetime Achievement Award back in 2000 when that film didn't exist.
That's fine then.
That's what I'm reading here on the Wikipedia.
That's absolutely
fine.
Thank
you, Stig. Thanks for confirming that.
I think that trilogy is one of the best Sundays you can ever have if you binge all those. You cannot go wrong. Family romps. Indiana Jones, like Last Crusade. What a What a crescendo to a trilogy that is. And I do like that Temple of Doom is such a departure as well, and it's technically canonically the first one in the timeline as well. It's clever, and it shows that George Lucas, when he's got a director that knows him, they can get rid of the George Lucasisms and make something solid. Because Spielberg absolutely he nailed it. He nailed it.
And what I also like about this is that if you've ever seen interviews with Harrison Ford, he's a very difficult interviewee.
He's always stoned,
but he is so far removed, really, from his character as Indy.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it, the fact that I forget I'm watching Harrison, that I'm actually... I fall into the character, the immersion of seeing Indy on the screen.
Well, look at him in Blade Runner compared to Indiana Jones. That is a completely separate... Do you know what I mean? That is a completely separate character. And even the growth in the trilogy, in the initial trilogy, the growth, and Last Crusade, he smiles a lot more, doesn't he? It's as if he's enjoying his time. And the fact that he's alongside an icon, Sean Connery, Sir Sean Connery. He's
that chemistry between them, which really shouldn't have worked. Also, considering the age gap in real life,
shouldn't have happened.
It's like 12 years.
Yeah, there's like 12 years difference or something like that. I just think it's a sensation. It's an ode to the pulp comics of the 20s and stuff like that, and it's perfect. And you can't disagree with the baddies he's fighting. There's no. Oh, I'm siding with the baddies this time. You can't. It's the fucking Nazis. You know what I mean? You can't. And even in Temple of Doom, like people say, Temple of Doom, it's a bit of a damp squib compared to the other. But I still think it's got its moments.
I like it. I do. There's definitely.
I think it's
definitely agree.
If you watch them all in one weekend with your family and stuff, I think there's a lot worse you could do with your time. Honestly.
Yeah.
And it absolutely.
Well, what's the fourth one?
I've only seen it once, and
yeah, me too.
Wow,
enough. I didn't realise the first one actually won 4 Oscars and was nominated for another 4 as well. Yep.
Wow. Yeah. I think it definitely deserves
in the lesser categories.
Yeah.
It's got editing,
best film editing is quite a big one, but
it is a big one. But no bigger than the Biggies itself, and it definitely deserves a Biggie. And now for our final award. Stig from Modern Escapism.
Hello. Is this on? I'm afraid that Stig can't make it to the stage for this final award. He's passed out with his trousers around his ankle and his head down the toilet bowl. So he's given me his notes, and this is the best foreign language film that wasn't Parasite.
My favourite award so far. Go on then.
Yeah, so if you're a long-term listener to us from the start, back on episode 6, I talked up a film called Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Yes, you did.
I think this is the finest film I've seen this decade. I think it's the best film I've seen since Moonlight.
Wow.
And it's just a masterclass of directing, acting, cinematography. I won't get too much into it all. Just go back to our previous episode and listen, especially because we're running on time here. But
you've been played off already.
That year it came. Yeah, it came out. It was nominated for a BAFTA and Golden Globe for Best Foreign Language, but completely snubbed at the Oscars. And I have no problem with the fact that Parasite won all these awards because it is a brilliant film. But what irks me more is this film has 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's in IMDb's top 250. It's an exquisite film. It is fucking amazing and absolutely breathtaking. And just wasn't even nominated for Best Foreign Language in the Oscars. And the fact that it's not nominated just kind of annoys me. I have had a look at that year, and there were some strong contenders. All of them have got very good scores on, from
I think it got a Golden Globe, didn't it?
I'm not too sure. I don't
Something
think
like
it won. I don't think it won any of the major like ones that you know of outside of like maybe independent circuits and some like French film awards and things like that.
Yeah.
But the major awards that everyone kind of knows about just didn't seem to get talked about at all.
I think Naomi Palan, is it Palan or Milan or Naomi Milan, the main actress, she's absolutely incredible. Because I wouldn't have watched this film if it weren't for you. And it just absolutely, wow. I think it's exceptional. Genuinely.
Good, isn't it?
It's just
You
really...
did watch it then, that's good.
Oh,
That last like 5 minutes are incredible.
Oh, wow.
Like I said,
It looks
when my
gorgeous as
review,
well. The actual...
absolutely
so
stunning.
pretty.
Like I said, that it's like the whole film was about painting.
Yeah.
And
the film looks
it's
like
all
a
about painting,
painting.
but it's centered around painting. But yeah, there are shots within this which it's still shots. You took them; they could just be like lifestyle paintings. It looks that good. It's an incredible film, and it just came out around the time of Parasite. So it just kind of got swept under the rug.
Parasite is a classic, a modern day classic. I get that.
Oh yeah,
This should be up there.
It Parasite won Best Film. Like it beat Western films. That's never happened before.
Yeah.
Like it deserves all of its praise.Maybe because it was in the Best Film, they could have just knocked it to the side. Best Foreign Language. Let Portrait of a Lady on Fire in. But
I think if you've not seen
that
it,
would have been unfair. But it is an amazing film that the Academy
agree,
really
mate.
should have nominated. So.
It absolutely deserves a biggie. And that's more or less the end of the show. But before we go, we have the honourable mentions round. Let's just go for it, guys. Who wants to go first?
I'll go for what should have been the 2005 worst picture at the Razzies. Doom, the film adaptation of Doom. However,
The Dwayne Johnson vehicle.
Yes. However, it stood no chance because the worst picture of 2005 was Catwoman.
Absolutely deserved that Razzie.
It's a banger.
Any other year, Doom would have been the worst film of the year.
Yes.
Do you want to know the best thing about that is that Halle Berry actually turned up to accept it?
She did.
Yeah, she
She
did.
took it all like on a chin, didn't she, as well?
Yeah.
She did.
I think her acceptance speech. She got up and told the director to get fucked or something like that.
If you've not watched Catwoman, just YouTube the basketball scene. That's all you need.
It's all you need to know.
Ooh. Any more?
No, that's mine.
Excellent. Biggie?
Just want to quickly rattle out Leonardo DiCaprio should have had an Oscar way before The Revenant.
Yes.
I think he should have got it at least for Django Unchained or especially for The Wolf of Wall
Aviator,
Street.
mate. Should have got it for Aviator.
He didn't get that. Well, exactly. He had so many movies under his belt. I just can't believe that.
The fact that he cut his own arm in real time
On that
by
glass.
smashing that glass ashtray.
It's like Scorsese, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like they eventually gave it to him for the wrong film. I like the films that they got.
The Revenant's great.
He got
but
them for,
it's
but
not his best.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Brad Pitt in Seven as a supporting actor.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah.
I thought his role in that as a cop's going down a spiral of darkness was
It
fantastic.
made the Hollywood heartthrob into a Hollywood actor, didn't it? That film, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seven's really
Hugh
good.
Jackman in Logan.
Yeah. Logan's really strong.
And the one that really bothered me today was Al Pacino in The Godfather. He was nominated but didn't win it.
Which is crazy. Michael Corleone.
He was so good in that. So good.
Yeah.
Blew my mind.
I agree. Any more honourable mentions there, guys?
That's it for me.
Stig?
I've got one. First of all, I'd like for these are all movie related, so I'd like for the Academy to stop snubbing comic book films.
Yeah.
Because for the likes of Infinity War and Endgame to not get anything in the special effects is an absolute travesty.
Mind-blowing.
I was watching Infinity War the other week, and I'm looking at Thanos, and I'm like, this is incredible. He looks incredible.
Thanos looks like it's just a real thing.
Yeah, and it lost out to First Man. First Man is like what? Rocket goes up, it comes down on the moon.
It looks like Apollo 13.
It's
no
not that.
difference.
It's not that like amazing.
Yeah.
And then Endgame lost out to 1917, which looks all right. It does have its good visual effects, but I just think that they just need to kind of get their head out their asses and accept, like Logan. You know, they ignored that. Like The Dark Knight, they completely ignored that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Start recognizing at least in special effects and makeup, like how the fuck can the likes of these superhero films not win for stuff like makeup?
Look at Nebula. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The amount of makeup that Karen Gillan's got.
It'll lose out, but it would lose out to some classical period where someone's got a white face and rosy cheeks
It's ridiculous.
and a white
Oodles.
wig, and you're like, come on.
It's Oodles. You just described Oodles.
You did.
Yeah, he's very rosy.
And the fact
And-
that,
and yet-
yeah, I agree with you. Like when Scorsese said, "Oh, it's not cinema." This, it's like, come on, Scorsese, give it a rest, pal. It
Yeah,
is
like
cinema.
I get maybe on a storyline front and a plot and all that kind of things. Maybe it's not up there, but we're talking about the other awards where the special effects and the makeup artists and the costumes and stuff.
stunts.
How can you just ignore them? They are incredible. Even if you think the films are shit, that stuff isn't.
It's mega, isn't it? It's proper good.
Yeah. So is that animated films need to be more recognised in the main award. Only 3 have ever been up for the top award, which is Beauty and the Beast, Up, and Toy Story 3.
That's ridiculous.
I think more. There are some amazing animated films.
What about Wall-E?
Like, no, they have this subcategory, don't they? So they're just like, you stay over there.
Yeah.
And we'll,
You're
like,
not real film.
Yeah, exactly. But they are like some of them are better than what they nominate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
agreed.
Toy Story 2's got so much nuance that you don't even realise as a film.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. It's Toy Story 3, well, especially the first one as well, just with like how, you know, I can't think of the word I'm thinking now.
Mind-blowing
like,
at the time. It was like revolutionary.
Yeah, at the time, yeah, exactly. And dealing with some things like kind of
loss and
adolescence, existential crisis and stuff like that, like with Buzzards and stuff.
It's proper clever.
Yeah, but like finally, I just want to go nominations that should have won over ones that Wit did.
Go for it.
Saving Private Ryan should have won over Shakespeare in Love.
Agreed.
Yeah,
You
100%.
cannot convince me that Shakespeare in Love is a better film than Saving Private
You won't
Ryan.
convince me it's a good film.
Yeah.
No. Might have a fine performances in it.
I like
but,
it, but it's not Saving Private Ryan.
And this is what I was talking about earlier when I said I'd come back to this. I read up on this, and apparently this all came about really due to heavy canvassing by disgraced human being Harvey Weinstein. So that tells you all you need to know about how certain films get to where they need to be.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect example. Nothing is better than Saving Private Ryan that year for me, and especially not Shakespeare in Love.
He changed the landscape of what we thought of war. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an amazing film. Next one, Social Network should have won over The King's Speech.
Yep, 100%. Love that film.
Yeah.
I've watched it so many times.
And
Jesse Eisenberg's best performance.
So good. And I like The King's Speech. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a fine film. But I actually looked at the other nominees that year. All of these are better, in my opinion. Black Swan, Inception, The Fighter, True Grit, and Toy Story 3. It's an Oscar bait film. It's a historical character overcoming the odds.
True, yeah.
And it's British. They love British historical British films. Absolutely love that shit.
And it hasn't got Buzz Lightyear in it. You know,
yeah,
Buzz Lightyear is a star character.
Raging Bull over Ordinary People.
Oh God, wow!
And finally, Goodfellas over Dances with Wolves should have won.
Yes. Look, Goodfellas is a timeless classic. It's one of the best rags to riches story. And rags to riches to rags story, should I say?
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're what?
Absolutely fantastic. I've got one honourable mention. It's the award for the critics liked it, but you guys didn't. Why haven't you played it yet? It's Mad Max. I've said it millions of times. You've not played it. Start playing Mad Max. It's one of the best open world games of last gen. I'm not going to go any more because we've got a bustling postbag in the green room at the after party, and the Postmaster General. He's absolutely hammered. So let's get on with it.
Yeah, so as I kind of walk into the green room and kind of step over Stig's body, there's just a pile of sick next to him. DJ Walsh at DJ_Breathnacht has said the one that absolutely stands out is Steve Carell not winning an Emmy for playing Michael Scott in the US Office.
Oh, God, yeah.
One of the all-time greatest television performances sustained over several seasons on what is now the most watched show in the world. Michael Scarn alone deserved an Oscar for Threat Level Midnight. Right this Hollywood wrong.
It's a good episode.
I love that. That is so funny.
With Goldface.
So fucking awkward to watch, but so funny. Charlie Ridgewell has come in and said, I have the opinion that if your film is snubbed, you're too good for the awards. Palm Springs didn't get fuck all.
It's a sensational film.
Still need to watch that.
Oh, please watch it.
David Cheeseman has said, I will never understand how Jake Gyllenhaal didn't win anything for Nightcrawler. He wasn't even nominated. That's the best performance in the last decade.
So good.
Yep. Björg Pruschmeier. I pronounced it right. Nominations for Best Film, Cinematography, Direction, Leading Actress, and Supporting Actor for Hereditary should all have been given. But no, it's horror. Can't award that now, can we?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just like Stig was saying with cartoons and animation. They're not allowed awards, are they? Because they're not real films.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Andy Bleasdale has come on saying Florence Pugh for Midsommar. Midsommar?
Watch that. If you haven't seen that, watch it.
She's a great actor as well. She was in the wrestling film as well.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Stig, what's the Page film that she was in? Florence Pugh. Fighting with Your Family, that one.
Yeah.
She's really good in that as well. She's a right up-and-coming actor.
Well, I've heard lots of good things about Midsommar, so I'll have to watch it at some point.
Oh, Midsommar's great.
He also goes on to say Toni Collette for Hereditary.
Yep.
Thank you.
Michael Keaton should have beaten Eddie Redmayne.
Of course he should. Birdman's incredible.
Yeah. Brokeback Mountain, Shawshank Redemption, Pulp Fiction, Saving Private Ryan, and Roma should all have won Best Picture.
Do not disagree.
Next up, we have Best Boy Kurt Lewin saying, "Hi chaps, my nomination for this topic is Ethan Hawke for his performance in First Reformed. A film I don't think any of you have watched, but you really should. Nope. But not if you're looking for a film to cheer you up. I've mentioned it before in a previous topic, but he plays a priest, and to say any more would be to spoil it. I checked, and he didn't even get an Oscar nomination for his performance, which frankly baffles me. Any of us seen this?
This is a film I really want to see, but he basically mentions why I haven't yet, because I just haven't been in the mood.
Ethan Hawke.
One of those ones.
Ethan Hawke has always been an actor that I've always been like, I'm not that arsed with you. But he was good in that that Australian vampire film. What was that called now? Where they were...
He's excellent in Gattaca.
Gattaca, yeah. But there's
He's excellent
is that Australian
in,
vampire film?
Day.
I can't remember. It's got Sam Neill in it as well. Ethan Hawke, Sam Neill. Daywalkers or something like that. And he was good in that.
Oh, yeah, Daywalkers, I think.
It's called Daywalkers. Something silly like that. Where the whole world is vampires or something. I can't remember. But he was good in that.
Yeah,
he's good in the Midnight to Paris or
I've not seen that yet.
Whatever it was. It's a trilogy of a couple. It's really good.
Oh no! Before, after, and
that's the one.
Before midnight, after midnight, stuff like that. Yeah,
that's really good.
We'll try that, Kurt. Definitely.
Yeah. Nimrod Hicks has come in saying, "Dear moderately entertaining." Just
what?
Caught up with a backlog.
Moderately entertaining?
How dare you?
I'm not sure what's happening here.
Millions for this awards ceremony.
Next email.
Oh, hang on. Didn't you start off by telling him to go fuck himself?
We did, yeah. So I think we're even now. But he's saying he's just caught up with a backlog of episodes and he's yet to listen to the D&D special, but as an enthusiast nerd, he's really looking forward to it. But as for award snubs, did you know that neither Stephen Hawking, Mahatma Gandhi, or Nikola Tesla ever won a Nobel Prize?
Wow. I didn't know that. That's mental.
We didn't even go that deep with our awards, did we? Jeez.
I don't think we're that poignant of people to know about that kind of information.
However, he goes on to say, for me, the worst crime of this nature is in 1954 when Chris Chataway won Sports Personality of the Year ahead of Roger Bannister, who that year broke the 4-minute mile barrier.
Wow.
Chataway's 5,000-metre race had been televised and as such stole more hearts from the watching audience. I mean, what has the guy got to do? He broke the 4-minute mile, for fuck's sake.
Well, Nimrod remembers it because he was there.
Ouch.
That's all I have to offer, other than myself being cruelly overlooked for promotion to Sixer in the Norwich 35th Cub Scout group in 1984. Still hurts to this day, apparently.
Bless him. Oh dear.
And last up on deck, we've got Ray. And this is a long one, but it is. I've read through it, and it is actually a really good one. So he says, "Hi, Modern Escapism. The story of Sir Roger Deakins and Oscars is not exactly a snubbed story. After all, the man did eventually get his recognition twice. However, his long journey towards Best Cinematographer seems like a powerful being kept toying with them. The fact that this story formula happened 13 times in 20 years makes it almost like a series of unfortunate events."
It's insane.
Yeah.
After 20 years in the industry, Deakins hit it big with the Academy Awards in 1994 for his work on the greatest snub movie of all time, The Shawshank Redemption.
Good film.
He probably didn't feel too bad losing to John Tull, who handed the cameras for Legend of the Fall and Braveheart, as he was a newcomer, but the curse of Shawshank had already stuck with him. 2 years later, he was nominated for Fargo, but lost to The English Patient. The next year, his marvellous work in Kundun was completely overshadowed by a big ship called the Titanic. Fucking Titanic.
God damn it.
Entering the 21st century, Deakins started strong with Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, which is a fucking brilliant film.
Love that film.
And The Man Who Wasn't There, which is also a really good film. But fate threw Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Fellowship of the Ring in his face.
No, I'm not having that.
They're strong films, though. They are strong films.
For both of those.
Yeah. After that, The Reader lost the million prizes to Slumdog Millionaire. Then the Academy ignored the Great American West in True Grit over The Folding City of Inception.
Love True Grit.
Ooh.
Then the breathtaking view of Scotland in Skyfall was no match for the breathtaking view of the ocean in Life of Pi. Then there was Prisoner versus Gravity Unbroken. Sorry, I'll start again. There was Prisoner 2013 versus Gravity. Unbroken 2014 versus Birdman. Sicario 2015 versus The Revenant. Different times, same results.
He just had. Sorry, I was just going to say, he's just had the most unluckiest of time.
Timing,
he's had like he's created. Helped
he
create.
Should have released his films in the last 2 years.
Cinematography, but yeah, every single time it just seems to go against another great film.
Among all the unfortunate events, the most unfortunate occurred in 2007. That year, Deakins received 2 nominations for The Assassination of Jesse James and the Best Picture, No Country for Old Men. It should be a hopeful year, but those 2 nominations split his votes, and in the end, it was There Will Be Blood came up on top. I mean, that's a really
all 3 of those
category.
films, though.
They all look incredible. I mean, amazing cinematography across all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Luckily, that powerful being seemed to finally have had enough with toying with Roger in 2017. He got his Academy Award for the beautiful Blade Runner 2049 and was later awarded a second time for another stunning masterpiece, 1917.
Rightfully so.
Well deserved for both of those films.
I bet he was crying his eyes out, like, finally, I've finally done it.
Blade Runner is stunning.
It's gorgeous.
Absolutely stunning.
It's gorgeous. It's art.
Yeah. I would rather call Roger Deakins having really bad luck than saying he was snubbed. There's always only one Oscar for each category, but there's not always a single piece of good work that is worth the recognition. As such, inevitably, every year, good movies and people go home empty-handed. Only for Deakins, it just seemed to happen more than others. So maybe it would be better to treat awards as the icing on the cake. Pretty, but not the most important. So instead of dwelling on Oscars, Roger Deakins has been actively communicating with his fans on his website since 2005. He even started his own Team Deakins podcast, talking all about things cinematography. And of course, he's still busy working on whatever his next project is.
Wow.
And I think that's a really poignant way to end that off there, because, like, as he says, there is only one winner per category every year. But a lot of excellent stuff gets missed. Falls through the cracks because of that.
As I stated earlier in the week, Rue wrote that, didn't he?
Ray, yeah.
And he's won the award for best feedback. So,
yeah,
absolutely congratulations on that. You've won yourself a biggie, and that will be sent out to you in the post in about 7 years. They're very heavy, they're very large, and they are solid gold.
Just like me.
But yeah, that's exceptional feedback. And yeah, there's a lot of things that just for people, for mortals that we are, we will miss a lot of films and a lot of games, a lot of shows. Books, we didn't talk about books, but there's been books that have been snubbed and stuff because they were going up against titans like Harry Potter and things like that. But we'll discuss it more in his Discord. And speaking of which, we have got socials to get through. Now, Stig, you have been the life and soul of the party, at the backstage party, but now it's time for a bit of professionalism. Socials.
Yes, so you can find us. I just did a little burp then.
Leave
so
that
professional.
Please.
You can find us on Twitter. Right. You can find us on Twitter at Modern Escapism. On there, you'll find a link to all of our episodes, socials on Discord. If you have any comments, you can either tweet us or you can email us at modernescapismpod@gmail.com. If you like to watch gaming streams, you can come and watch us at twitch.tv/modernescapism. Saturday, Oodles might be doing something. Keep your eyes peeled for that.
Maybe.
Mondays, Biggie will carry on with his Biggie Dies sessions on Dark Souls, and Gadget and I will have decided something for the following Wednesday after this
Please
comes out.
do that new Two of Us, whatever it's called.
It
takes two.
We're toying up between A Way Out and Sea of Thieves.
A Way Out's a really good shout, guys. You'll love that.
Yeah, A Way Out could be a good shout, but yeah, by the time this comes out, hopefully we should we should know what we're gonna do. As ever, please check out our D&D special. I'll still keep plugging that for a while because it's well worth going to check that out if you haven't already.
It should win a podcast award.
It definitely should.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, then we'll just give it a biggie because it deserves one.
I'll roll the dice, see what happens.
And
natural one.
as I said last week, it's still April, till the end of April. If you go onto Podchaser, leave us a review, a 5-star review, and we'll like it, and you can do some good for charity at the same time.
Yeah.
Next week, we don't have any feedback needed for next week unless you're into Dungeons and Dragons, because next week we actually have our first guests on. So we don't have it. Our main topic is going to be basically an interview with the Dungeon Dads.
Yes.
Finally, Gadget gets his way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm very excited about this one. I don't know if you can tell.
We're going to have if you do have any dads on.
Yes. If you do have any feedback on that, if you're a Dungeons and Dragons nerd and you want to ask a few questions to them or anything like that, then you can still feel free to send it to us. But we don't have a main topic next week because we've got a guest on.
But honestly, even if you're not into Dungeons and Dragons, if you want to watch someone or listen to someone like me crumble against talking to actual good podcasters, please tune in because these guys are successful and I am not.
And if you want to listen to me giving them tips on how to host a podcast,
absolutely. So it's gonna be incredible. But yeah, please review us on Podchaser. Like, you're giving a bit to charity, and it's free for you to do it. And you don't even have to put much in a review. You can put "it is good," and then that's it. You've done it. 5-star review. Absolutely. And 5 stars feeds us. It feeds our ego. And it makes us visible on all the platforms. And we've put a lot of heart and soul into this in the last few months. So, without further ado, we will close off this ceremony and we will continue to drink wistfully into the night and just discuss other things that were snubbed. Maybe this episode. So, nothing can take the sting off the world's economic problems, like watching millionaires present each other golden statues. Good night, and God bless. Bye-bye. It's just sperm everywhere.